tell you right now, 'cause she's the one I'm thinking of. Hey, the only one I'm thinking of. Hey, she's everything I'm dreaming of. Hey, the one that I can live without. Oh, that smile makes me tripping out. I wanna dance with you tonight. Yeah, you close to me, feeling good. I believe I gotta have you in my life. You got that good, good vibe. I want to spend some time back with you. Oh, I got this good on times. You want to spend some time back with me. Oh, and time to time I am wondering who is she to me. I'm gonna tell you right now, 'cause she's the one I'm thinking of. Hey, the only one I'm thinking of. Hey, she's everything I'm dreaming of. Hey, the one that I can live without. She's the one I'm thinking of. Hey, the only one I'm thinking of. Hey, she's everything I'm dreaming of. Hey, the one that I can live without. Can live without. Time after time after time, I'm wondering who is she to me. I'm gonna tell you right now, 'cause she's the one I'm thinking of. Hey, the only one I'm thinking of. Hey, she's everything I'm dreaming of. Hey, the one that I can live without. The one that I can live without.
Gotta make it fast, right? Next to this black fire, it's just you and I now. Just make me move right. Don't stop for nothing till you're in my bloodstream. Chemicals, get 'em moving. I can feel your blood. Keep it flowing, make it one more time, and then I do it again. Let you in under my skin. Hey, let you in under my skin. Let you in under my skin. I let you in under my skin. Hey. We can do this faster. Wrap it up skin tight. Blessing or sin, right? Come a little closer. Wanna feel you harder. Gotta take it further. Oh, chemicals, get it moving. We got juxtaposed body fluids and the black fire burns, and then we do it again, again, again. Chemicals, keep moving. I can feel your blood. Keep flowing, do it one more time, and then we do it again. Let you in under my skin. Hey, let you in under my skin. Let you in under my skin. I let you in under my skin. Hey. So put your body, body, body on my body, body now. I can feel it coming like a lightning in the sky. Put your body, body,
Always were a dreamer as a child. Every night I watch the stars hoping for a sign. My father said, come down to earth, my son. But in my heart I knew there's something more out there. So follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. So follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another Everything that we've been through has made us strong. You won't believe we've had our gray, but somewhere there's a light inside of us. It shows the way. Not looking for no heaven or gold, 'cause I got you. I got you. Don't wanna show us off, but you're my all that I need. Trying to sugarcoat, but I'm flying so high. I don't even know if I'm coming down. You rock my boat when you hold me so tight. The world just disappears in front of my eyes. I'm telling you why, this ain't no madness. The smoke and the mirrors are memories. Now the sun's gone down like a river rushing way up above. This ain't no sugar-coated love. This ain't no sugar-coated love. Love, I stay in bed. I still got the feeling that you're next to me, stuck in my head. When lights go off, you're everything that I could ever want. Your touch so soft. Not looking for no heaven or gold, 'cause I got you. I got you. Don't wanna show us off, but you're my all that I need. Trying to sugarcoat, but I'm flying so high. I don't even know if I'm coming down. You rock my boat when you hold me so tight. The world just disappears in front of my eyes. I'm telling you why, this ain't no madness. The smoke and the mirrors are memories. Now the sun's gone down like a river rushing way up above. This ain't no sugar-coated love. This ain't no sugar-coated love. This ain't no sugar.
trusted friend or your sworn ally. No, it's the harshest mistress of all. And life is just a chain of moments spent, 1,000 hellos and goodbyes. Maybe a love like ours can leave out its call. Seasons come and pass, one after the last, and along we go. The shift and pull of the tides never sleeps. But if I had a boat and oceans to cross, then I would sail them. Since I have this promise to keep, I will keep you near.
how's it going, folks? Welcome to the Paladins Global Series. My name's Tom Battinger. Excited to be here, joined, of course, by the illustrious Goremizer. Thanks for having me. How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm excited to have it. This is going to be a fun reason, a fun day, especially having you around. I'm excited to see you jump back into the realm.
Yeah, it's been exciting. I'm really excited to start off with SEA. Interesting matches here today. We've got two of them on the way. Ryder, who's looked pretty good in this region, they're going to be up first, obviously. So when we're talking about these teams, I mean, everybody's kind of playing for their region for the goal of making it to HRX.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to be the top team from each region that gets to come to qualifiers, come to play at these lands. And even though we've seen quite a few different teams from different regions, it's going to be big. And of course, November 16th through 18th is the big weekend that they're looking for.
Yeah, these teams have to play and really got to perform. All you guys got to do is buy tickets. HighResExpo.com. You can slam your tickets right there. Smite Paladins, console, PC, the whole 9 yards. But this is really what I'm about, the after party. November 18th, the last day of the event. We all go nuts at main event. It's a lot of fun. You don't want to miss that one either.
That is probably the one that we've had the most fun. Not only just going to, but also talking about afterwards. Because it's like, we don't remember truly what happened, but it's always really fun.
Yeah. No pictures, please. Let's take a snapshot of SEA and see where everybody's kind of landed up. As I said before, Ryder having a fantastic time right now, 3-0. No losses so far for Ryder. Their opposition, Wolfpack, though, today, a little bit different. They're number 4. They're 1-2.
And it's really interesting to see the region as close as they are, pretty much from 2 down, just because of the way things have been going. Authority usually seems like they're taking that step up, but Wolfpack was actually the last team from this region to make it to land, so it's all over the place in terms of competition.
Yeah, I mean, you were telling me before that SEA can be very, very competitive in and of itself,
yes.
But Ryder kind of taking that next step. So let's see where everybody lands up. We've got picks and bans on the way. We'll see how everything is going to land in our first matchup. Jaguar Falls is going to be our map. What can you tell us about this one?
I mean, this is probably one of the more standard maps, like as far as things go, especially in best of threes. This is one of the regions that I think won't venture out. Like in the past couple weeks, we've seen teams starting to pick up like Splitstone Quarry, Ascension Peak, go towards the fringe maps first, because they're like, if we can win here, then we take you to like Jaguar Falls or Frog Isle, and it's going to be an easy set for us if we can get that 4-0.
So just kind of knocking out the hard stuff in the beginning?
Yeah, and being able to go through Blasters, Drogo's, Willow are actually really big on this map, but it doesn't seem like either of them are going to get through. So I'm curious to see. Inara is also a relatively big pickup for this, so I'm curious to see where Ryder wants to kind of drive their draft.
Well, with Wolfpack taking care of Makoa and Torvald, that leaves Furia to be one of the frontliners here. I mean, right across the way, Khan. This is going to be a nice pick here as well. You're laughing. What's up?
Khan has this history, especially when paired with Inara, of usually just winning when it comes down to it. Very, very strong competitively. It's actually very difficult to deal with him just because he applies healing. He can give CC immunity. He's really tanky. He has a shield. There are some champions that will shut him down, but I feel like Ryder, like they're not looking at him right yet. They're not looking towards like a Leon that can help deal with that. They're going for the Fernando, the Ruckus, the Fury. They have a very good core overall, but it's not going to be as much, especially with Leon being taken away.
Yeah.
It makes it a little rough when they go for their DPS at the end.
Yeah, Ryder, they've got their frontline composition kind of set down, which is kind of a nice look because now you know what the frontline and what you can depend on. You can fill your DPS a little bit later. Cassie, one of the long-range shots, and Tyra, of course, going to come out as well. So this composition, kind of well-balanced, but definitely heavy on the frontline.
If I had to say that there was one champion that was going to look incredibly good on Jaguar Falls that wasn't Drogo's or Bomb King, it would have to be Tyra. Like, this is one of the maps she can perform probably the best on because the way her grenade works, it spreads randomly. But because all the quarters on this map, it usually pulls them into like a staircase or down a hallway, so you can kind of aim it even though you can't really aim it.
Yeah, it makes a little bit of sense. Makes a little bit of sense there. Ryder and Wolfpack taking the field right now. It's going to be the first match on Jaguar Falls, as we said. And looking at this one, what's the biggest move that you really need to see Wolfpack do to kind of step up here in our first match?
I want to see how they approach the beginning fight. A lot of the issues teams have had on this map is separating maybe too thin. Muxt on Inara is probably just going to go straight to the point. He's probably going to be going there along with Mr. Wolfies. But Sailor and Sacred Asura, two players that have been around for a while, I expect to kind of take to the side, try to get a little bit of pressure over here in this open field around the statue, just to try and keep some control away from Ryder.
You're going to be looking for the true flank damage right there. Sailor here, like you said, he's been around for a while. He's actually going to be the first blood, so not around on this map for that much longer.
And that knife just eating headshots. And this is going to be the biggest problem if you overextend or if you can't get that pressure you wanted earlier. Mux essentially having to rely on Ying heals, which is great as of right now, but it doesn't do as much upfront healing as you're going to see out of the Fury.
Right, the Ying is going to be more of that sustainable healer on the back line, but if Cassie can find it if Cassie can get around and sort of protect the Ying, I think that's going to be what she's looking to do here.
This is kind of what I expect out of Ryder, honestly, especially with the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks. It's just control and patience. They're not getting too aggressive. They recognize where things are going to go wrong. I think one of the big things Wolfpack did that was a big issue for me was sending the Leon on their own, having Inara seemingly on her own. It didn't seem like they were ready to commit to the fight, and Knife wasn't able to accomplish too much on this Talus.
Well, right now, we're finally seeing the push. Like you said, it was a little bit patient, very calm, cool, and collected, but Wolfpack now pushing out and trying to keep this Talos under wraps. Dolan, though, here for Ryder on the Ruckus now. Just lay all those headshots, and he got a teammate around the block, and that one's a nice kill.
And that's that awkward spot to be in his Talus, because his rune of travel is literally right next to him, so even if he teleports out and gets even the smallest of heals from that, it's not going to be enough to actually save your life. You're still going to be locked between two. And now a Hexafire coming out really early on.
Yeah, just right off the bat, understanding that Khan was low on the shield, able to take care of that one. And this is going to allow Ryder to push up into this halfway point. Ruckus does wind up falling down. Nice kill there from Sacred Sir.
Now getting a little bit of pressure push onto them. They're going to be able to zone out at least Furia right now, but that doesn't matter as long as you can keep him alive. Lillian and Darkness Rom going to go down. And so Dams is left alone in the side room, just kind of hoping for the best, and then no one can see him.
Well, Ryder now control the point. Wolfpack kind of seeping in, though. It doesn't look like Ryder actually has control of much of anything. I don't think anybody really here.
Yeah, Wolfpack is trying to pressure him out. They're going for a zone, but they're not getting too aggressive, and this is one of the issues I'm starting to see. Is like, again, they're spread thin, and you're looking at Knife specifically trying to find a way to flank into them, try to get in there as this Talus, but he doesn't feel confident enough to do it because so far he's just been getting blown up every single time he shows his face.
Yeah, I mean, the Talus, where is his entry point? How is he supposed to actually get in here? Because there's so much resistance.
Originally, I would say if you have someone like a Genos, if you have someone, even maybe if Ying was able to get a clone in the right spot or an illusion in the right spot, maybe he could go around the side, come up literally right beside them and just hope for the best. But when it has two front lines to go against, he has to find the right time to pick them and go for the shred. It's one of those awkward times as Talus where even if you have like Wrecker to deal with the shield on a Ruckus, it's going to take way too long to actually kill him off versus the time it's going to take to kill you.
Right now, Wolfpack doing a pretty good job here. Trying to keep Ryder away from their spot. There's a double kill so far. And Sacred Asura is on a tear. 5 kills to not a death so far. Still has an ultimate available.
9, 8.
Coming down to it. Where do you expect Sacred Asura to really use that ult?
Beginning of the next round. It's one of the things. Khan is phenomenal at one thing with that ult, and it's killing off a front line immediately. If you're looking at... I'm mainly targeting Fernando, but maybe even Dolan on the Ruckus as well. You can either pick him up, throw him off the map, or you can just hold him still as your team starts to kill him off. And you can see he's running a relatively standard loadout as well, just reducing the cooldown of Battle Shout by 5. Never Surrender 5 is probably the most staple. Plate Mail 4 as well being in there just to make sure you have that extra health, which is part of what makes Khan so difficult to kill off.
And then Life Taker here, kind of standard as well, level 3 here. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of the double kills, and that's just allowing him to get his cooldowns back up more and more often. So Sacred Asura has been a really big part of what's going on for this team. You were talking about the healing, though, on the other side. Ying is actually putting out more healing for Wolfpack than across the way.
And that's part of the thing that has made Ying very strong. And you can see she's gone morale boost too as well. So her ult provides a ton of healing. And it's similar to what Furia will output, but the difference is that Ying's ult is global. It's going to heal them no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing. So it's going to make sure everyone is not only topped off, but they're going to be feeling safe in any engagement. And that is exactly the overpowered. That's the ult.
Yep, that was going to be a big, nice shot there. Not a kill just yet. Needs help from the teammates. Big shield's coming out from the Ruckus, and he's going to be all right.
That is so unfortunate. I mean, they have him locked down. He goes for the throw. Inara puts up the wall. I'm assuming they were trying to lock him in there, but the key difference is that Ryder popped there in flame. Furia's ult, movement speed, and damage, and when you're Ruckus with an emitter shield, that just means you're incredibly safe at that point to disengage.
Wolfpack did a great job before on defense. Different story now. Ryder just taking control right easily, just stacking the point. Here from behind comes Talus, though. He's able to find some damage, but it's after the fact Ryder takes the point.
being able to hold on to it. And that's actually one of the rarest times we see. I mean, in Flame, it's very difficult to lose a fight when you have that on your team, especially if you're as coordinated as Ryder is. But the fact that Overpowered was used so early, the misuse, I would say, of what happened with it allows Ryder to really take control of that fight and just flip it right on its head to zone Wolfpack and make it nothing on the point.
This area for Wolfpack was very successful just before, but all of a sudden they seem to have spread out, and now Ryder are able to kind of stack a little bit more, approaching back to the payload. Wolfpack, though, seems to have all eyes on this payload.
This is actually where I think Ryder's composition is going to be playing kind of against them, because they don't necessarily have anyone who's going to be like a strong flank. Maybe you can send Cassie or Tyra off to the side, but because of the angles that Wolfpack is holding, they're going to be able to get a lot of damage on you before you're actually having that impact.
Yeah, I've also seen Cassie has looked for the flank here and there, but really what's winding up happening is she just doesn't have the damage to chew through all these tanks. And so she's getting the flank positioning, but she's not really executing the way the team needs her to.
And it's this just push and pull, I think, that is on Jag Falls, where it's just, if you have, like, Cassie and you have Knife running into her as the Talus, on the point fight, Cassie's going to win that. If you have it kind of reversed, Cassie's trying to push into him, he's just going to be able to go around the corner, wait for you to come through, and shred through your health bar. Again, Cassie's not going to have anything incredible. It's easier to kill her off, especially than the Ruckus. Even though we have seen Knife go into the Wrecker too, he's looking to try and shred those shields and at least provide that for his team. It's still so much easier to get rid of Skrilly or this Cassie.
I love this positioning from the Fernando, though. He's able to push up, and that's going to allow his teammates to follow suit. And you see the flank on the right-hand side as well. Here comes trouble from Ryder, and Fernando just pushing right on up. Control of the payload, goes right back to Ryder. Great push. Great coordination from the blue team.
And being able to get rid of Mux, specifically on the Inara, kind of started the snowball. Once you get rid of her, she is incredibly difficult to kill, especially with a good healer behind her.
Yep. As
long as you start knocking them down, then Sacred Asura fell, then Knife fell, and it just starts the snowball progression. It gets you up to this other choke point, which is going to be a little more difficult, but Wolfpack already seem like they're on the back foot trying to figure out how to hold this.
Yeah, Ryder had a much harder time around here than we seem to be having on the secondary choke point, which is kind of funny because it's a little bit more difficult on the secondary choke point.
It's definitely going to be a little bit of time, I think, for them to push through. With 30 seconds left, this is a really awkward spot because you don't want to commit an ult, and you don't really want to dive into the payload. You still can go for overtime, but it's just far enough away, even though it's only 25 to 30% of a push.
Right.
You have to figure out, what are we going to fully commit to this? How are we going to push it around the corner? And it feels like Ryder, especially at this point, it might not be worth it. They're winning every point. They don't have to worry too much about the next round from Wolfpack.
They've got a number of ultimates already online as well, so no reason to really expend those quite just yet. Brief pause in the action. Sorry about that. We'll get right back to it in just a moment. But Ryder seeming to have control here. It's 2-1 at the moment, and they're pushing the payload. And like you said, I mean, they could really eke out and try to make this payload happen, but they're winning all the other spots as well, so...
That's also one of the things, I mean, for Wolfpack, this is a relatively big matchup because, again, this is the team that they're pretty much fighting for land. Wolfpack has always been the team to be able to make it. So Ryder being in control, not only here, but just in terms of the standings, has been, I want to say, not necessarily like shaking them up because they've been getting stronger every single week.
Sure.
But it's definitely given them a hump to go over. And as of right now, they also had to get over the economy, which has shifted over in favor of Ryder. Once you capture a point, that's 300 credits.
Yep.
And when you get 2, that's 600 credits for every single person on your team. So Ryder, at this point, have control of the items, even if they aren't getting the pushes.
Yeah, Wolfpack do get that defense right here, so we're tied up 2-2. But Ryder, like you said, have been really able to capture the points besides the fact. So let's take a look at what was going on during this round as well. And yeah, this is what happens when Talus is able to do Talus things. When he finds the flank, bang! Killing spree, triple kill. But like you said, he's been shut down a lot by what Ryder's trying to do.
Yeah, sitting at 8-6-5, so he's at least positive, but it's not going to be the best. I mean, Dam's essay on the other side is 8-4-8. So you have a lot of this, again, push and pull, where Wolfpack are really picking up a lot in the defense, but there's only so much you can do for a defense. You essentially get 3 points every single time, or you get 1 point every single time you defend. You get up to 3, but if Ryder keep dominating on the actual capture point, you're going to have a lot to deal with. And they have 4 cauterized 3s. That's going to be anti-heal out the wazoo.
And that's really what Ying has been bringing to the table. Mr. Wolfie's been a big part of it. Right now, though, just going pure aggression. And again, this is what Talus does when he's able to find the back line. There's a little bit of help. Bang! Gonna be able to find it, and big damage out of the Ruckus. Has to find the exit.
Immediately tries to retreat. Not gonna be able to escape the Cassie, and Dam's picking up 2 there. Actually makes a big trade. Wolfpack, even though they've been sitting on the point, because it's still tied, it's only going to be a standard capture rate. And so even when they use their ults early on to kill off the Fernando, even when they use their ults to get into the backline and try to shred off the Ruckus, it just doesn't afford them as much ground as they really could have gotten.
Classic Inara wall there, coming out from Wolfpack. Nice spread between the two teams on the point. Usually, last time we just saw complete takeover from Ryder. This time, Wolfpack able to dance a little bit better.
And at least trying to hold it out, but that's going to be the Hexafire just trying to shred through. And this isn't even specifically to get a kill. If it gets one, it's going to be better. And that's just zoning. That's just keeping the front lines from actually walking up to make sure that that 75 can start turning into 90.
Yeah, the most classic example of suppressive fire. Just you can't peek if I'm just shoving bullets down this hallway. Sorry, homie, not going to happen. This one, the point goes to Ryder. They're 1 point away from taking the game so far. Great play at a Dolan 10. His zone has been fantastic, and it's really opened up the map for Ryder to be able to take this point, walk through the payload. I mean, a lot of when we've seen Ryder penetrate these choke points, it's been that Ruckus right up front making it happen. He's on a 9 streak, and I think that's proof in the pudding that he's a very valuable part of what's making this team find the aggressive spots.
And this has been a very important fight, at least for Ryder, just because of the way they've been able to zone Wolfpack. Ordinarily, this is where they're starting to die. They're not able to push the payload that far, and there was a moment of time that they weren't focusing on the payload. They were trying to figure out how to approach this and just crack down Wolfpack, but they're at least able to push it past that choke point, but now they've given up the ground again.
Talus is coming here looking again for the flank. Now, luckily, he has the con on his own team, so he can play on this edge of this map and not be too afraid of getting knocked off.
And being able to teleport around again, that Rune of Travel is going to heal him up when he does come back to it. And being able to use that as just a bit of aggression. He gets some movement speed, he runs in, he tries to close as much space as he can, and he doesn't have to get a kill. He just wants to shred you a little bit, force you to fall back to the Furia. If they can kill off Furia, then they force you to fall back a little further, and they keep people like Dolan kind of locked away where he can't come in and have that impact he's had so far in the points and the pushes.
Yeah, Dolan right now in a bit of trouble. Trying again, sneak right back in here. Here's the push, and now he's going to be in a good spot. He's got his teammates flanked to the right and the left, and more teammates on the left side actually going to be pushing around this wall. Again, great suppressive fire. Ryder, again, retakes their position around the payload.
And you can see the impact overall. He pops the emitter shield, and it goes down immediately, and that's just Wolfpack. They've been focusing into the record. They're trying to deal with these shields as much as they can, but that's what happens when you don't have the focus.
And he's got Hexafire available, so he's going to be able to walk up here just with the regular old guns, and the moment Wolfpack really provides him with a little bit of resistance, bang, we're going to see the ultimate come out. But Ryder get a couple of important kills. 3 players down for Wolfpack means that this payload is just going to walk right up here. We might even make it past this secondary choke point and find ourselves right in front of the throne room.
Being able to zone people off, that kind of firebomb is exactly what Tyra's looking for. Again, it's going to zone more down the hallway. You can actually kind of, again, aim it without aiming it in a way. And as long as you can get the bonus damage that she has from Hunting Party, you can start shredding people down. But again, you're getting locked down behind this rock. There's nowhere you can really stand that feels safe.
Yeah, and finally we'll see the death go her way. Overtime now, pushing. Wolfpack trying to play D, and they're actually going to do it. I thought Ryder had really a strong piece of control there, but that's not going to be the case. Ryder unable to successfully find the push.
It feels like there's just a lot of moments that are going right for Wolfpack, and it's just at the right time to deal with Ryder. There's small kills being picked up, and it's positioning coming down. For both of the teams, that is really what's been the strength or the weakness, depending on where they happen to be. Right there, Ryder, again, spread maybe a little bit too thin. Some people wanting to get aggressive, some people trying to stay a little bit more passive around the payload, and they weren't on the same page enough to actually jump in at the same time. So when one teammate died, no one could take their place.
Yeah, I mean, that was really, was that really it? Was that how Wolfpack defended that? Because as I said, Ryder got 3 or 4 kills, which allowed them to push past that secondary choke point, but then everything fell flat.
It's incredibly helpful with Wolfpack in scenarios like that because they can fight with the Talus and the Khan together. Khan's going to be able to give Talus a damage amp, plus he already has his natural shred, so as long as they find one target, they're usually going to be able to start snowballing that into 2 to 3 to 4.
Yeah, Talus right here trying to get into that front line, provide that damage. Wolfpack has a nice position here. 1/3 of the point is theirs. Ryder trying to push on in. Fernando leading the way, but here comes help from Talus. And he's going to go right on through, find a target, chase him down. Can he get the kill? Does not look like it. Everybody going to be safe.
Doesn't get the kill, but he does dismount and keep Skrilly locked pretty much in the base for a long time, and that allows the fight to be essentially 4v5 the entire time since he teleports right back into it. They grab 2 kills right there, and they're starting to put the pressure on. That's now 75% for them on the point.
Leon has been out of control this game. Sailor has really made an impact for Wolfpack. I think one of the higher performing players on the team right now, honestly.
Being able to get a lot down, and one of the things about Leon has just been not only the damage output she has, she can focus on Wrecker because she has a talent called Death and Taxes that does 90% anti-heal on application of her bullets, which is literally every single ability she has. So as long as she just sits back here, again, it's just going to be gradual poke. Whether or not she gets the kill isn't as big. She's setting up her team for success.
And she's sitting here at top damage, so you know she's doing her job. She's going to roll on the back line and look to push players off. And again, 96. This is going to be it. Wolfpack are going to be able to take this point, it looks like, or right now, Ryder trying to prevent it, overtime happening, and you can see players from Ryder trying to spam the point, but with Leon's positioning here, Sailor alone might be able to make this happen.
Yeah, Skrilly going down is going to be Big Lily, and left alone on the point right now. That overtime's going to go down, and that looks like Wolfpack.
Yeah, that's it. Nice. Game number 1 goes to Wolfpack. Fantastic performance from them. And again, I'm looking directly at the Leon player. She was able to really provide the damage, push players off. And I think that enabled Wolfpack to keep Ryder at a distance.
And it's really important towards the tail end having someone like that, just because you're looking at the way all of these point captures have gone. Ryder's able to dominate. They win literally one team fight, and then they just zone Wolfpack the rest of the game. That time they finally got to feel what it's like to be zoned, especially with Talus diving into the back line. I think that was kind of the big thing. Skrilly, there was so much time to just spend walking from the base to the point that his team died in the process.
Well, 1's in the books. Let's get on to game number 2, see where we're playing and everything. Jaguar Falls was first, and now we're at Stone Keep.
I'm curious to see if the drafts are going to change too much, partially because Khan and Nara is just ridiculous to give away to someone like Wolfpack, but also because this map, even though it's not similar in layout, it has compositions very similar to that we will see. Tyra probably not going to be making an appearance, but because Leon was so impactful.
Exactly.
First ban.
Yeah, I love to see that adaptation from teams. Ryder realized that the Leon was just way too powerful, so that's one of their first bans. Drogos as well. Strix is banned, though.
Yeah, this is something we used to see a while ago where snipers were very big on this map, but then a change came through for the scopes, kind of enhancing how far they zoom, which made it feel a little bit more awkward for a lot of the players in terms of how much vision they had. Originally, it was kind of like a 1x scope, now it's a 2x, and so it zooms in maybe a little bit too hard.
Well, Khan and Makoa here, no more Nara, but they're going to get Khan and Makoa. That's also a pretty devastating front line.
Probably the top 2 bans in all of Paladins since Khan was released. As long as things have been going, I mean, Makoa is easily the most banned champion in all of Paladins history, and then Khan is probably going to be joining him, although SEA doesn't seem to prioritize him as much, and that's kind of the difference. We have 3 DPS characters down in the bans versus typically 3 to 4 front lines.
Well, the question here is, because Ryder's undefeated, right? And a lot of times when you see, across all games, a lot of times when you see that, there's, I don't want to say arrogance, but a confidence in that you can take some of the better picks because we're just a better team. Game number 1, that didn't seem to work. So in game number 2, is this something that Ryder can play with?
Well, it's actually something we ended up seeing yesterday in the PPL as well, where it's just one of the teams that is notably one of the worst teams overall being able to get Khan and Nara Furia as their just combo. And like you said, originally, it's like, well, we're just so good that it doesn't matter. They end up taking that map. It goes 4-3, but it's at the very end that they lose it. So in this kind of scenario, I mean, Khan, Makoa, Willow is incredibly good on this map. Androx is taken to make sure that no one can deal with her. Wolfpack have a very strong composition going into it. I think the only weakness is just Genos' healing isn't as high as what you'll see out of the Furia.
Yeah, I really like what Wolfpack have going on here. Androxus and Willow together on this map, I think, can really cause a lot of problems for what Ryder's trying to do. And with that said, they've got Cassie to kind of snipe down Willow and Andro, so that's going to be a nice look. But Jin, how does he fit into this one?
This is a map that's good for him just because of the way the paths on Stone Keep take. Specifically, if you're going more towards the cathedral, kind of near the organ, you can actually pressure out the backline a little bit better. You can get towards maybe where Willow is going to be sitting, trying to hold her own, as well as controlling up here the high ground, which is probably going to be the most important part for her or Cassie. So I expect a lot of teams to be, or both of the teams to be fighting up in that area trying to get control.
Stone Keep here. Our second game of the match. We saw game number 1 go to Wolfpack, which I think surprised a couple of people out there. Ryder, of course, the undefeated team at the moment. So they've got control over pretty much whatever they want to do.
Sorry, I saw Sailor was hovering over Scorn there and did switch at the very end just to make sure. Scorn is something that I think is, in theory, like on paper, it sounds really great. Your Seedling's going to do a lot more damage. In theory, it doesn't work as well. And actually, right there, you can see that high ground, that positioning, not exactly the best position you can find yourself as Willow.
Yeah, you're going to be in the open, so you've got to have some sort of friend to protect or distract you. Big damage again coming out from Dolan. Dolan, I think, was one of the big performers in our first match. Again, playing the Ruckus like he did in the first game. And I think Ryder was able to really make the plays that they did make because of this Ruckus performance.
And being able to get as aggressive as he is, I mean, that's not a position you typically see anyone taking on Stone Keep in terms of defense, but he not only is sitting up there, he gets out alive and he kills off Sailor one more time. Willow is probably the biggest point control champion overall. And even though you have Khan, even though you have Makoa, you have to have someone killing off the backline to make sure you win.
Well, Dolan right now is just killing everybody that walks into his crosshairs. Objective captured nice and easily by Ryder. Wolfpack didn't really even have a horse in that race. Again, brought to you by Dolan on this Ruckus selection.
And I have to give a lot of credit, even though Sacred Acero, Luminary Genos has been one of the biggest things. I mean, having damage amps that can just be applied through walls to your teammates at pretty much any range, there's not going to be too often he feels like he's not able to hit you. It's always been really good, but a 3 DPS composition is usually what that's run with. You typically have Willow, Androxus, and another. Right now, you have 2 front lines, so you're kind of mixing 2 metas together, and I feel like that's where it's falling. The front lines really need that extra healing. That's where Khan is maybe trying to make up for that, but because they don't have any burst heal, anything to really keep up with Furia, they're just falling.
Yeah, I think the mentality is that Khan's battle shout will kind of enable him to be a little bit of a hybrid, bring some of everything, and then that they have like a 2.5 DPS, right? I think that's the mentality for Wolfpack. Whether or not it's going to work is a different story. I'm eager to watch this Jhin. I think he's a very interesting character that doesn't always have a spot in compositions. But as you mentioned, because of the layout of the map, this is particularly a nice battleground for him.
I'm actually curious to see what Xin has in his loadout. Dams is one of the ones in this region where we've seen a lot of focus into not only like just duration of Billow. Hideout 5 was one of the ones, Rain Day was going on about it, but this is going to be Hideout 3, which is about the standard that you would typically see. Again, there's a lot of cards he really wants in his loadout, increasing the distance of world and the speed of Billow that keeps him safe, that allows him to get in or get out and stay alive a little bit longer.
Oof. Right there, he's able to get out. Nice dodge. Providing a little bit of damage. The team, though, payload kind of stuck up there. Wolfpack digging in and trying to get a nice defensive set. Fernando now leading one more time, and he's going to be able to have control, but the team needs to join him here. Finally now, Ryder able to push on up. Payload going to be moving as well. Wolfpack forced to fall back just a little bit, but here comes Androxus. He does have the ultimate available as well. Reversal being used here. Almost hits the punch. There's one. One more shot will do it, but he gets taken down.
And Dam's using the Billow is going to be able to get away. Still has the whirl if he needed it, but Knife, even though he was able to literally cut through Ryder into the backline, it wasn't enough to really cut them down. But they do get the zone. That's all they needed. That was just the pressure they needed to apply, and they only used one ult. They used the Ancient Rage, but they maintained 4 out of the 5 going into the next round.
Yeah, we'll see how this one winds up. Brief pause here right before the end, so we'll see where, you know, maybe we get a crazy overtime play. Got to hold on there real quick. But so far, this again looks like Ryder kind of has control, but at the same time, I'm seeing a lot of moments that have me thinking Wolfpack could pull out the win just like they did last time. And
I'm kind of curious to see how Wolfpack's going to adapt, because if they can keep this going the same pace as the last game, it actually favors them just because of their ability. So Willow has 100% anti-heal in her kit already. You can't use Rejuvenate. You can't break that down. If you are standing in dead zone, it is 100% no matter what. Because of that, she can start looking at Wrecker. That deals with the shields on the Ruckus and the Fernando and anything that might be coming out of Furia. And so all of a sudden, as long as they get items online, as you can see, Sailor has gone into Wrecker 1, going to be able to afford Wrecker 2 going into the next round. That's going to help them immensely.
Jhin, oh, there it is. Okay, perfect. I was just going to say, Jhin keeps playing aggressively, but I want to see him more on the back line, taking care of the opponent's kind of flankers. We're seeing Andro kind of really penetrate, and I need Jhin to be playing a little bit more defensively. Right then and there, he swaps it around, gets the necessary kill, and Ryder now pushing in. Great job again, I think, by Dams.
just right next to the capture point. Someone has to touch down from Wolfpack if they want to be able to stop this. Knife jumps down. Now Khan's going to be down in the fray, trying to do whatever they can, but Xin, again, in a good position. A Cursed Arm going to get thrown out, trying to find a kill, but it doesn't connect. And look at all the healing from Furia.
Ooh, yeah, that's really keeping everybody alive. Trouble for Ruckus. He's half, but he healed right back up. Reversal not going to happen this time around. Andro trying to find the flank, and he won't. Ryder gets the kill, gets the point as well. 2 in total. Nice push there from the blue team.
I'll be honest, right before the pause, I just kind of wrote that point off because I was like, all right, it's not only in the choke point where Wolfpack have been holding it, but they have a lot of ults on that side. Like, if they truly need to hold on to it, they will. And they use a few of them. They end up using the Fate Flight, which is a little weird towards the end, but Knife goes for the Accursed Arm, trying to get some burst. And the minute that doesn't find kills, I think that was pretty much all she wrote for Wolfpack. The minute Knife is, like, I mean, sitting now at 1-6, it just doesn't feel confident enough in this Androxus to afford anything in that defense.
Yeah, it was a rough play from Wolfpack, but also just want to tip my hat towards Ryder. I think they played it really well. As I said, Dam's kind of switched roles right in that moment. He was playing really aggressively, trying to use that dash and get behind the enemy lines. Then he switches to play defensively for his own team, cuts a couple of flankers down. That opens the door for his squad. And then, as I said, game 1, game 2, the whole thing, despite not taking the win, this guy right here, the Ruckus player Dolan, really out of control, and he's looking to keep it going.
Has his Hexafire available, going to eat a reversal right there, but the shield coming up keeps him alive, and there's Furia being able to give him a nice 1,000 to top him off. Still not feeling, I think, as safe as he possibly could. This is a good angle from Knife as well as the Khan being able to just hold it, but unfortunately, they can't hold it forever.
Now that's going to open the door for Dams. This is where he needs to be aggressive, and he's doing just that. Genos is able to get one, trade out, as the Khan falls down to Jin.
This is the point where comeback mechanic is going to be a big difference, something we didn't get to see at all in the last game. Wolfpack, because they're down by 2 points, are going to be able to capture 4% every tick instead of the 3% that you'll see from Ryder, so they can capture it about twice as fast when it comes down to it. Lillian has to hold on to this point. That 46 will turn to 90 in an instant if you just stop paying attention to the point.
Ryder right now about tied up, but here's help from Wolfpack. You can see how quickly the point is going in their favor because of that fast cap. But Ryder wrestling it back. Here comes a little bit of help. Makoa's in trouble, and he's causing it. He's trying to roll up on Cassie, and Cassie, you don't have the damage. You don't want to challenge Makoa. Down goes the Archer, and the Turtle Man with a turtle plan, making it happen.
Immortal going to get popped right now by Lillian trying to hold on to it, but again, they're just barely now tying up with Wolfpack, but Dams finds 3 in the process.
Oh, Ryder, this is the play that they need to make. They want to grab this one. Reversal dodged out there by Dolan. Nice shift move. And Knife going to fall down again. 87% of the point is Ryder. Get back on there and push it, baby.
Going to go 93, 96. It should be 100.
There it is.
Dams finds 4 kills out of the last 5 on that point. This Xin has made the biggest difference, and it's part of the thing that we've seen kind of in the past. Xin, in the right composition, typically, he was heralded originally with Genos having that Luminary, but when people realized you could just play him on his own and still have a good impact, that's what's been making the big difference. And if you can have this kind of performance as Dams, you are set.
I mean, really, how is it... What's the deeper part there? How is it that Jin's able to make such an impact? Because as I said, I mean, he's just not one of these characters that we see all that often, but here he's able to do that.
So it's partially being enabled by the Furia. A lot of the shielding coming down from her, the healing that she's able to hit is going to make the big difference. He also just has a lot of survivability. Counter Billow as well as Whirl, especially with the increased distance he has on Whirl and the increased duration he has on Billow, allow him to maybe get in, take a little bit of damage, keep himself safe, though, in time to get that heal. So he can always fall back, dance around a payload or a point to make sure that he's holding overtime for his team. And the Yomi swing, he hits 850 for every 3rd strike, so he's got a good burst as well.
But so what makes it so different than the Talus that we saw earlier where he was able to play with the teleport rune?
So Talus is in this awkward area where he has a lot of burst, but only for about 2 seconds. He essentially gets 1 clip of double fire. It's going to do a ton of damage, but if you don't get him in that clip, you have to rune a travel back and your time is done. Xin, because it's just in hand every single 3rd swing, he has a lot more to work with. It's just natural in his kit as opposed to having to rely on one of your abilities.
So it sounds like Xin is a little bit more evergreen, is able to really apply in these moments, whereas when you look at Talus, it's more about these surgical strikes.
Yes. You have to kind of cut them. I mean, since it was Knife playing it, I feel like it's perfect to say like a Knife, being able to go forward. And that's kind of where Androxus falls as well. There's certain moments you're kind of looking more for maybe 1v1 engagements. You're going to win those almost every single time. But if you're taking it against another flank, especially like Xin, who is just known for surviving, it makes it incredibly difficult.
Yeah, Knife has had some nice plays on the Androxus, but overshadowed, I think, by his lack of ability to really make the impact. We've seen a couple of the 1v1s that you were talking about, but Androxus here just hasn't had that team-wide impact that I think we wanted to see.
And I feel like, again, it comes down to Wolfpack's draft. It doesn't necessarily feel bad, but it doesn't feel like it's all working together the way they intended to. A lot of the math, I think, behind the numbers comes down to looking at the support. Genos is really good in a 3 DPS composition because of Luminary and boosting everybody. Not so much in a double frontline when he can't keep those two alive.
Yeah, and so right now, Ryder just pushing up this. Honestly, they made this one look easy. The undefeated squad. There it is, Ryder taking this one. And the undefeated squad here, you know, I think they were a little bit mad, Gore. They lost the first game, and I don't think that was supposed to happen if you read their diaries. And so they come here in game number 2 and take this one nice and easy.
And that's one of the things, again, when you look at maps like Jaguar Falls, it's been in the game for a long time. A lot of the teams know it, especially in this region. It's one of the ones that I think is seen almost every single week, every single set. And Stone Keep is a lot more polarizing if you can control it, if you get a good draft like that. And so I feel like Ryder kind of swing that back in their favor, but because of the way it works now, Wolfpack get to choose their own map. It's going to go to loser's pick, and that's, I think, where things can start shifting more in their favor, especially if they can get a good draft.
Where do you expect them to play here in number 3?
Part of me wants to say Frog Isle because that's one of the just standard maps, but I actually wouldn't mind seeing them pull out something ridiculous if they can go to like an Ascension Peak, because no one knows how to handle that as easily as they've been for a lot of these maps, again, like Jaguar Falls, Frog Isle, the ones that we always end up seeing in the best of 3.
And yeah, I mean, when Wolfpack is here trying to take down Ryder, the undefeated squad, as I will keep saying, I think it's a very important point to realize. I mean, Wolfpack here, their job is to essentially keep the enemy off their game. And if that means Wolfpack has to step down a notch, well, if they're pulling Ryder down a notch, it's a good look. But it's a Splitstone Quarry. What can you tell us about this map?
As far as things go, you can see like Ascension Peak is banned. If you're going to go to a fringe map that is, again, maybe relatively newer or just something that can award you for fighting long range, Splitstone Quarry is going to be one of the ones. This is somewhere where you could see snipers come out. Leon, Cassie are very good here. And then it limits the flank pool because it's so vertical based, especially around the point fight. You need someone who can actually get up there to deal with the damage.
Well, the Androxus might make a resurgence there. And Leon, who did so fantastically for Wolfpack in game number 1, she also might come back, unless Ryder says, no, we remember that one. So they're going to ban her out. So no Willow and no Leon there. And across the way, focusing on the tanks, which leaves Ryder to pick that Androxus. And that's going to be a nice look, leaving it for Knife.
And I like the approach, Wolfpack, if they go for a Nara here, I actually would have liked that. Mokoa still being open, and this is such an awkward area, because I think every single Paladins player will tell you that they'd favor the Mokoa over the Inara. I personally think Inara is going to be better, especially on this map, because you need someone who can hold on to that point a little bit stronger, and I feel like she has definitely risen in the ranks. But if you can get Mokoa and Inara, then you're going to be set.
Yeah, Ryder over there picking up Fernando and Drogos, so no frontline pick there, no Inara pick there. But then Strix, there's that long range you were talking about. And Koga, the new champion, he's going to be showing up as well.
I'm actually excited to see this because, again, we're looking at someone that has a lot of horizontal mobility. He can actually get around the map relatively well, but he doesn't have anything to jump up, and I actually am surprised to see that Ryder go for nothing that's really going to be sitting on the high line. I was expecting maybe a Kinessa to come through to try and deal with the Strix, something to maybe lock him down. But because of that, I feel like you're actually going to see Koga potentially have a much easier time dealing with someone like the Drogos, like the Fernando and the Ruckus.
Yeah, I think it's all Androxus' job to take care of the Strix, right? He's going to be all the way hunting the sniper basically the entire time, so that it'll limit his viability and what he can actually do to help the squad. So I do like the idea of, instead of going sniper for a sniper, going for a flanker that can actually find the sniper and just hunt him down. Is that his dedicated role?
Yeah, that's going to be pretty much where we see him. I think he's going to have a lot of strengths in potentially dealing with Sailor on that Koga as well. I'm looking at, can we see Skrilly hit these headshots? I think that's the biggest difference. When it comes to Androxus, his damage is all right, unless he's hitting headshots. And as long as you can consistently hit it, you have the right pacing, all of a sudden you're jumping from like 400 damage, maybe not feeling that impactful. 900 as a headshot and being able to hit 2 or 3 of those in a row, most of the time is going to kill off a flank. It's going to make a frontline even turn and run.
You can see with the loadout that Koga's bringing here. Certainly focusing on being highly mobile. That Shadow Step going to do basically everything for him.
Yeah.
Reload, heal, etc. So he's going to be looking to just zoom around this map, provide a ton of damage. And right away, that's already what he's doing, just chewing through Fernando's shield. He certainly has the damage. There's the Shadow Step going behind, and First Blood actually on the other side going to Wolfpack.
It's actually really interesting to see Sailor running the loadout he is, because he has it where not only is he healing every single time that he hits his dash, he's also regenerating ammo when he comes through, and he's running Master of Arms, which means that as long as he finds a hit, he's not going to consume that ammo, or at least it looks like Master of Arms. So if he can continue that route up, he might actually have some of the longest uptime in terms of shooting. Unfortunately, right now, it just hasn't been able to translate as much into kills.
Yeah, he's been able to chew through the shields really quickly, which was impressive, making Fernando step off the point. And so I think he did his job there. Wasn't able to find the kills, as you said, but it's 2/3 the point of Wolfpack, and Ryder now taking control of it at the moment, trying to push that up as well. 60% so far for the blue squad, and Dams here on the Drogos. Looked fantastic game number 2. Now switched over to a hard carry character. And boys, he making it happen. Winding up and going through the tunnel, trying to find a target. Nobody here. Where's he going? That's it. That's it.
That's it. He ran out of time. He's not going to be able to get it. Retains 30% of the ult, but wasn't able to find the Anar or the Makoa. That kill actually could have meant a lot on this point, 99%, but that's still not 100, and Makoa's getting aggressive.
Yeah, Makoa's going to walk right in here. He is pretty low, has to find an exit, and he'll exit the hard way as Drogos finds him from a distance. Still 99%, but overtime about to be over. Can Anar make it to the point? She will. She'll die just as quickly, and this one goes to Ryder. Easy peasy. Nice try there from Wolfpack, but Drogo's just a little bit too powerful. 6 kills without a death so far.
And they get to showcase a lot in that kind of fight. That comes down, that strings for Ryder, right? One of the things that really works, one of the reasons Androxus was feeling like he was out of place last map, is where we're seeing it come into handle right now. He's being able to kind of zone around the side, so Drogos draws a lot of attention to himself because of the damage he can do. And then Androxus just hits you from the side. Either way, you're taking too much. You can't stand in that crosshair.
Yeah, you're just kind of stuck in the crossfire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
The crossfire. I like it. I actually really like that. I want to use that a little more.
Koga right here, though, really impressive. This is what you were talking about. Might not get the kill, but he just chews through Fernando's entire shield.
And that's part of the things I was kind of curious about Koga when he was first kind of released. I was like, where is he going to fit overall, like in a team? Actually, another Dragon Punch already charged up. That's going to be a clean kill if he can find anyone. Or he can just fly around.
Just chilling.
And, I mean... Visional, let's say.
Yeah.
He gets to see the map.
Exactly. A lot of times, you know, I'll kind of mess around and say that's a satellite ult. It gives him information. But with the way that this map is kind of set up, he's not getting any information that is actually of any value.
Yeah.
So,
hey guys, Wolfpack's retreating. Who would have guessed?
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Another whiff there for Dams. But outside of the ultimates, he's had a really effective game so far. Able to push players off and really make an impact for him and his team.
And being able to apply a lot of this pressure, specifically onto the Makoa and Anar, it's making them just have a hard time. And that are the headshots that make the big difference. Unfortunately, not able to find one more, which I think could have sealed the deal there for Skrilly. And because him and Dams die, honestly, even if you have presence here as Ryder, I feel like that's pretty much your push, falling at least for the time being.
Yeah, it's going to be another couple of seconds before Fernando even shows up either. So I think this is a fall back and regroup type moment for Ryder. Koga again is looking for the front line and providing the damage. I'm seeing him. I haven't really seen him use the claws at all. We're just seeing him use the regular weapons.
We haven't seen the claws come out often. I actually think I've only seen them once so far, and it's just that you get so much value out of your SMGs. There's never a true reason to really pull those away, especially when you're able to dash like this. You're keeping yourself healed up. You are typically running either Adrenaline Junkie, which is actually what it looks like here, or Master of Arms, both of which rely on your shots being able to connect to either heal up what you need to use in terms of your abilities, or keep you just constantly firing.
Here's the overtime push as the damage coming out from Fernando on the left-hand side. Wolfpack all very low. If Ryder come in, maybe even use an ultimate or two, I think they can absolutely find this point here. Trouble, though, as Skrilly is going to fall down. Knife gets another kill from a distance, and Fernando chewed on through. I think that's going to be it, and it will be. Wolfpack, fantastic defensive set, even though the life bars were not on their side.
Now, a lot of that, I mean, at the tail end, you could see Makoa, Mr. Wolfies, pops his Ancient Rage at the proper moment, is able to make a difference. And this is, again, the kind of pincer you get. You have Dams firing from one side, Skrilly on the other, being able to apply a lot of pressure. Unfortunately, while they were trying to apply that pressure, they used a lot of their ults. They do still have the Dragon Punch. That's one get rid of frontline free card, but other than that, no Immortal, no Ying ultimate to be able to come through and provide the, again, global healing for her team.
Yeah, Skrilly is up there. He's close, but, I mean, that's not going to be the ultimate that you need to really find that push, right? He'll be able to zone players out and push them back, maybe even get a couple of kills, but you're not going to have that frontline presence, I think, that the squad really, really kind of needs here.
We do have a Master Riding coming down from Renara, so again, you're going to be looking, I think that's Muxed over there once again, just trying to get onto the point and put himself and solidify his place over there. Unfortunately, their team doesn't feel as defended as they could, especially when you have Dams just flying around looking for the kill.
Yeah, the third time, going to be missed. Ultimate here, the Cursed Arms coming out. Knife actually takes a death. Doesn't really do anything on the offensive side of it. Not a great look for Ryder so far.
A good push back, at least, to be able to hold down the Strix, depending on how this approach is going to be coming through. Sailor has to be making a big difference. He has his ult available, which could potentially kill off a couple people, but all you need is an Inara wall and some body blocks to be able to lock down a Ruckus.
Dolan's been having such a great time so far, but not in that one. Here comes Koga, just continuing the push. Sailor looking for the kill. Ying's going to be able to teleport out on, but Sacred Asura waiting over there on the other side, able to take care of the healer.
Wow, Sailor going to be able to go from 0 to 100 incredibly fast right there with the healing coming down from Fury. And again, just keeping him alive. Dams is now going down.
So that wall climb is really important for Koga on this map. You were talking about the verticality and how Koga's got a lot of horizontal and just able to move around like that with the shadow step, but he's going to be able to climb to those second floors as well. And that's, I think, the big part of what makes Koga exciting for this one.
And it's one of those things in his kit that I feel like it only gets to come out on maps like this. We've actually seen it on Ice Mines as well, and it is a stellar performance when you can climb up there. Unfortunately, you do have to have a little bit of pressure, and you have to climb the right spots in order to get to the right area. But if you can get a good zone and make it so that Knife here on the Strix is going to be comfortable, then you're set.
Strix has been relatively successful here for Knife so far. Him and his team have been able to play defense decently. One more shot, nice pistols coming out from Knife. Finishing him off there from a distance. The young sniper, 7 kills without a death. Mr. Wolfie's up close and personal, taking down Dolan as well. Strix can't seem to find a home for these bullets, but the payload being pushed, and Wolfpack have control of it for the moment.
And this is where I think Strix is going to start feeling a little awkward, because there are some some parts of this map that are still going to be good for a sniper while they're aggressing, but it starts to feel really weird because you're like, I can stand on this ramp where there's a long line of sight, and that's about it. And once the fight hits a certain point, you have to start changing your position. And again, it's very obvious. So Skrilly and Dams at this point should be able to keep control of Knife pretty much for the rest of the push.
This is an ideal spot for Dams, I think. Well, not if he gets flanked. Before he had his eyes on pretty much the entire enemy team. Nice shots there coming out, though. Taking Sailor down, who's consistently found his way behind the enemy lines.
Being able to find a salvo. Again, they're not looking, I think, as much for just the insta-kill, although that's definitely going to be able to help them out. But Knife just can't stand in the open like that. When you're up against a drug, I mean, he saw that coming towards him. I don't know what he was thinking.
I mean, it was right there. That was a little problematic, buddy. Not going to be the best look right now. Dams out of control on the Drogos. Really enjoyed watching him play this one. And damage from the Ruckus is going to push Wolfpack back again. So Ryder now digging in right here in this choke point, trying to push Wolfpack back, and honestly, doing a pretty decent job at it. Hey, Dams has that ultimate again. You think we're going to see another fly around?
I think he's going to hold it. I think this time he's going to hold it just for a little bit, and that's only because there's 30 seconds left. They just killed off Mux. Mr. Wolfies is not looking like a threat right now. And even though you have the ult come down from Sailor, it literally finds nothing.
Just not going to be effective there. Triple kill coming out for Skrilly. Ryder trailing by 1 on this map so far. They're looking to come back. This might be the play.
As long as they can just hold it right here, I mean, that's going to be one better. Do see Wolfpack getting a defense early on, but if you can go into this next round, you're 2-2, it's going to be a very even set. You can potentially win off of that capture and push since you're going to be able to get the 2 points.
This one's going to go to overtime as Wolfpack getting aggressed on by Ryder. Ryder trying to make the most of it, and 2 players down for Wolfpack so far. Andro on the run. There's a nice heal for him as he's in the reversal. Not going to be good enough as Knife from a distance cuts him down. Now with a reload, Inara's coming right back in just a moment, but another good kill, and Ryder defends successfully, pushing Wolfpack off of the payload.
And I just love the way they play that. Again, they're looking for the front lines. Once they get rid of those 2, it makes it a lot easier. Even if you can throw a Strix onto the payload, He's not going to live long as he can do that. And so
Exactly.
even though Skrilly gives his life for it, he's kind of distracting, pulls the vision away from that. They're not looking at protecting their front lines anymore. Sacred Asura is even more focused on Knife than he was Muxt, who's now 0-8 on this Inara. He's not having that good of a time, and I expect that death counter is just going to keep going up, especially with a 12-4, I believe it was, for Dams.
Yeah, Dam's just on a really, really good tear. Not just in this game, but all day. Honestly, Dams has been playing a couple of different characters now on the Drogos. It was banned earlier, so he didn't have the opportunity. But his ability to just make these AoE plays really happen has opened up the door the way that the Ruckus Dolan was able to do as well. So now with the Drogos Ruckus combination, I'm expecting a lot from Ryder on this map.
Yeah, being able to come through, this is probably the best time. A lot of good headshots so far from Skrilly, being able to get some control. Reversal hasn't been as big, but Dams is going to be able to get the kill without using his ult there onto Mux, which opens that up for an Ancient Raging Makoa, potentially, if that ult gets popped.
Yeah, I haven't seen Androxus really use ult. He's going to go for it. Is he just going to fly? He's going down, and he's just going to find a target. We finally got one. Dams takes down the Makoa. Great job with the Dragon Punch.
Being able to find that around the corner as well onto Knife. This is just going to make it and show what's unique about Drogos. Using that fire spit is just so solid, but Sailor finding 2 kills in the process. That actually opens up the point for his team to come back into it, but it's 78-33 right now. Riders still have the advantage.
That's a nice look. Again, Koga trying to push on the front line. Fernando just able to turn and burn, though, quite literally. Inara on the point. Very difficult to push a good Inara off of the point. That's really where I like her application the most.
Looking to get rid of Dams as well. A beautiful hook to just lock him down. And once you get rid of the Drogos, I think that makes it easier for Mux to stand on the point. Again, like you said, it's very hard to displace her. Drogos is one of the only champions that can do it very easily.
Yep.
So as long as you can keep him locked down, that makes it a lot simpler for Wolfpack to just focus on the point. Send Sailor into the back, potentially find a fight like this, although usually wants it to go his way instead of the other way around, and be able to keep that control.
Just usually. Ultimate coming out one more time, and there's a nice play. Damage from the Androxus. Not going to be enough to claim him in elimination. We'll set up his teammate. There's a kill. Skrilly taking care of Mr. Wolfie right there. And it's all Ryder right now. 4 players on Wolfpack in the box. With them down, it's going to open the door for Ryder and gain some map pressure.
And with the way things have been going, I mean, we had mentioned Ruckus at the very beginning of it, and I feel like his game has been quieter this time around, but that's actually really good because Skrilly and Dams are having the games of their lives so far on this Androxus and this Drogos. It is just so clean, so crisp from them. And in terms of working in tandem, having a deadly duo like this for your damage does make the biggest difference in terms of your control, how well you can push, and of course, like we just saw, how well you can hold a capture point.
Yeah, you were bringing up the crossfire between the 2 players and just their ability to kind of isolate individuals and find those moments has been really important for what them and their team want to do. Ryder, always the aggressor, it seems, has been really interesting to watch here. And Skrilly just all over the map. It's the movement that's really impressing me, man.
And so far, these hooks, as long as Makoa can hit him on the right targets at the right time, he's been able to find Dams, and right there, he helps find Skrilly. If you can lock him down, it's going to be good, but like you said, they're just zooming all over the place. Androxus right now is very difficult to control. Drogos, again, is in that same area where he's just going to be floating in the air, a different space than you typically have to aim for, so it's going to be a little more difficult for this Makoa to continue finding those kinds of impact. Excited
here for Ryder, though. You see the Hexafire is online for the Ruckus. He's going to sit down for the moment. There's still a minute left to push. And this can be the game point for Ryder if they decide it to be. So they're going to push the payload. And then I think that this Ruckus, I want to see Ruckus kind of make the push at the same time that Fernando is going to be walking up with Ying in the background. And I think that's how we find the way through with the Hexafire. Being able to get a couple kills with that would make this so much smoother for them. 62%, 68% now on the Dragon Punch as well. So if you can get both of those in tandem as well, that's going to mean pretty much insta-kills for the team, as long as you can aim them properly. But this is one of the most awkward maps to have to come back. Not only is it a long run back, as you can see, it was about a minute when they all died. Now 30 seconds left before they're even back. They haven't even gotten to touch the payload yet. And it's because you take so much damage in the process of getting there. It makes it very difficult to not only get back on it, but actually find a successful push after you've been defended once. 15 seconds left. Ryder trying to find their way in. Here comes the flank coming out from Dolan. Gonna turn on the guns, not the big ones just yet. Big damage though coming out. Double kill so far for Dolan. Trying to make it into a triple. And now tosses up the wall, but Ryder already on the payload. Trying to get in there. Great play by Ruckus again. What a surprise. It's Dolan making it happen for Ryder.
And I love the way he target switches at the end. He recognizes he's not going to kill Mux, so he's like, I'm going to go get the healer instead. Make this much easier for my team. Dragon Punch comes through, gets rid of Mr. Wolfies, and they're walking it in.
Yeah, they're just going to walk it right up mid. Here it comes. Hex of Fire just for the fireworks. And Ryder going to take that one in the end. That was all about the coordinated push towards that last shot. And again, the Ruckus is the key to that composition, able to find the positioning and then find the bodies and drop them on the floor.
And a lot that he was able to enable. And again, he was having a pretty quiet game until the very end when it really mattered for him. So being able to have Skrilly Dams have the performance they did, Ryder still being able to remain on top, although it's definitely starting to get shaky up there.
Well, what really worked out for me with that composition, like you said, was that with the map in mind and how up and down it is, Andro is the one that's going to be the meat and potatoes of the match, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be making the majority of the game. But when it's time to really bust through that door, Ruckus is like, all right, time for me to come through, and then just locks it down the way we see him do it in game 1, even when they lost, and then game number 2 when Ryder were able to take it. So now Ryder with the game 3, they're up 2-1.
And being able to take that set, feel comfortable, not only that, but being able to get themselves remaining, I guess, on top of the standings or where you want to be. Wolfpack, unfortunately, is now, I think, going to be at the bottom since everyone else was tied. But they still have at least someone who's going to catch up with them.
Yep, that keeps Ryder nice and secure in their undefeated spot. I'm sure they're certainly happy about that one. Losing game number, when you're undefeated, it's this different mentality because nobody wants to lose. I get it. But when you're undefeated, you have this sort of like varnish to really protect, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to get any scuffs or bruises or whatnot. So you got to be able to take care of things. And after you lose that first game, you're sitting there and you're like, we're not supposed to lose to Wolfpack. How are we going to figure this out? Ryder come out on top. Great job for them. Coming up next, we've got Authority, SEA, and the Five Gods here. What can you tell us about these guys?
Authority is the team I honestly thought was looking like a second place spot. It was definitely one that has been going, again, back and forth with Wolfpack.
Yep.
Notably, Five Gods has been able to pick up a win. They've been looking all right. And I think that's the thing I can say about both these teams. They both look all right. Being able to come through, this is actually going to be a big win for who can ever step up. Not just because of the standings, but because you'll finally stand out in terms of the rest of SEA.
Yeah, when you've got these 14 leagues, it's really important to sort of make your mark and let your opponents know what's going on and find your identity. More so for yourself than the opposition. And once you find that identity, I think that really separates you and puts you in a position to really find the victory. When I look at what Ryder was able to do there, their identity is power in the front line, and that was their ability to really take that. And I think the confidence in that is why they were able to do that. So we've got Five Gods and Authority here trying to figure out their own identities. And right away, Five Gods, Makoa, Strix, and Androxus right down the mark.
Androxus is the one that's standing out the most to me because this is not typically an Androxus map. Honestly, flanks on this map are a little more uncommon just because it's so difficult to actually approach the backline the way you would want to without getting seen. You're going to get noticed no matter what. That's where Koga has actually played a big role, and Zen plays a big role on this map because even if you see them, they'll just billow, they'll counter, they'll dash, or do whatever that just gets them around the side faster. They can hold the edges really well, so I'm curious to see how that one's going to work.
Yeah, with the Zen banned out, Authority all obviously knew the success of the flanks could have. But the Meldama and the Barrack are going to be some of the support here for FG. Makoa, of course, being the first pick. What a surprise. So the front line for Five Gods, I'm actually really liking. Barrack is hit or miss for me, but I think with Meldama on the side, it's a nice amplification.
I think it's going to be an interesting point control. You're going up against Furia and Nara on the other side, which is going to be very difficult. Normally, I would say Barrack is going to be one of the strongest at being able to at least maintain a control point.
Sure.
But because of the fact that you're going up against a Nara, you typically lose that battle. Your turrets aren't going to be anywhere near as safe. Zergetto is going to be looking a lot of just locking you down. And that's where Don Quixote comes in on this Strix. He's going to be trying to just burn down Nara, burn down Victor, burn down this Leon as fast as possible. And if he can hit a couple headshots, I mean, that's 1,800 damage.
Yeah, I mean, UMI certainly going to be looking for that one. But so for me, and as I look at this Barrack, he's going to be most effective if him and his team are able to get on the point first. Retaking the point seems like it's going to be a little bit more of a task for Five Gods. So I need to see them be aggressive first and foremost. Would you agree?
As long as they can get a couple kills at the very beginning, I think that'll make the difference. And like you said, if they can just get 1 or 2 and place Barrick there safely, then they'll feel fine. But even now, having trouble doing it, Wanda's going to be the first to go down. But Androxus, kind of notably just hanging on the side. I think that's going to be the biggest weakness for him, is trying to break through anything.
Yeah, that's really the problem, like you said. With the other maps, it's a little less open, so he can kind of flank around, fly, and find a spot. Here, if he gets too high, Victor's just going to shoot him down, and it's going to be really problematic for Five Gods trying to break into the spot. So now with Authority kind of digging in and putting their boots in the ground, this is not where Five Gods want to be. Their composition lends itself to being aggressive, and so now they're kind of on the defensive maneuvering, and it's going to be problematic for them. Victor chewing through players already.
And I'm actually interested to see the fact that Victor has gone not only for more damage while hip fire in his talent, but it's a stray away from what we had typically seen, which was the burst mode. Being able to get a lot of long range, it's pretty good damage. And this is still going to be good damage, but it kind of changes his range. Instead of being like a little long range boxing out the Strix, he's going to be a little bit more trying to box out like Fernando, or box with Fernando, boxing out like Barrick.
Yeah, and I like this move for this map specifically, because just as we were talking about how Andro can't really find his way safely behind enemy lines here, at the same time, Victor is going to be a little bit more front and center as well. Yeah. So yeah, you do want to be able to find those long-range plays, but at the same time, it allows him to play payload a little bit better, I think, by having faith in that hipfire.
And honestly, as long as they can keep having this kind of pressure, I mean, Authority are holding Authority in the game. It's a lot of what you can provide. I mean, Leon obviously is going to be doing a lot. You have a lot coming from your front line and your support, but Zed is in this perfect position where the grenades are applying one type of damage in terms of explosive, and then you have the hit scan presence coming down from direct damage in the rifle, which makes it very difficult to combat because he can just splash damage you, figure out where you are, especially if you're Strix trying to hide in invisibility, and then get chased down with some nice pressured headshots.
Oh, Authority, though, and Nara just completely unkillable, it seems. UMI, from a distance, hasn't really found a kill in a while. Able to take some damage off, and a nice pushback. Five Gods able to defend real quick here, but Authority do have almost a full minute to regroup and push again.
And Zergetto being able to hold on to it. Normally, I'd say if you kill off a front line here, it's going to make a big difference, but you get a hook onto Fernando, he throws up his shield, it doesn't matter. Salmon Time's just sitting in the back, applying pressure. It doesn't really matter, again, if he gets the kill. He's causing anti-heal. Now Ancient Rage comes through. I'm wondering if that's going to be enough.
Yeah, they're going to try for it. Ancient Rage and UMI are able to get one kill, but when Wanda turns it around and puts the Makoa in the ground, and with that one being off to the side, here comes Authority pushing forward. 3 players to play defense. Authority right now, 15 seconds to push. Of course, they are the payload, so Five Gods, they've got to find a spot here. Fernando dashing out of the fight.
I can't think of an more awkward place for a Fernando to be than I'm standing below 3 people. My team is not here. Now he does have some reinforcements, though. Unfortunately, taking a lot of shots in the back from the Androxus, and this is where he's going to be able to shine. Around this cover, he can kind of dash and dip, and that's going to make a big difference.
My goodness, the push back from Five Gods. That was Authorities from minute 1. They took control of the point. They pushed forward correctly, and Five Gods didn't really have a horse at all. And then last minute, they doubled down, and they were able to push out. Great job from Five Gods. I got to say, that kind of came out of nowhere.
And it is a lot of Ikju being able to showcase where Androxus can work on this map. Unfortunately, it's not going to be where you really want it to. And he's running a rather curious. Through the Warp 5, it's not different to see through the warp, but seeing it run with extra 50% on your dash, I think that's pretty much the map. He's trying to play against that, and again, close a lot of space incredibly fast. That dash being able to go that far makes an incredible difference, and hitting a target with reversal reduces the cooldown of it, so Power of the Abyss kind of helping in tandem with that.
Yeah, I was looking at that card too. I think the biggest point I can bring home is that Androxus needs to brush his teeth a little bit more. Those are kind of scary, man. I don't know. Maybe the punch has to be replaced by a bite.
The bite? That would actually be pretty damaging. I don't know if he has fangs, but I'm going to assume he has fangs. I feel like Androxus would have fangs.
Yeah, I think so as well. At least some sort of weird demon poison, right?
It's like whatever's on his arm is also on his teeth, which is why they just look that bad.
Cursed arms and cursed teeth. Troublesome spot there as Authority wrestles control of the point one more time. 90%, not even a thought process. Five Gods can't get in here. They're going to be pushed back, and again, the point goes the way of the red team, and now it's payload time.
Now I can think we could start our own line of children's books where it's like Androxus goes to the dentist.
Yeah.
Small things like that.
It works. It works.
And it could give people like Authority that key into how to maybe finalize that push, how to lock down Androxus.
Yeah.
The dentist knows.
And Victor can talk about, you know, how running and how important cardio is, right? It'll work out.
This could work. We should start this.
And you know what? We're going to do it. You and I, we're going to do it, Gordon.
Starting a new company from the ground up.
Right now, Authority trying to push forward. Five Gods previously didn't really try to play defense until that final choke point. Now here around this first curve is a nice look as Five Gods getting a little bit more aggressive. Rumpelstiltskin here on the barrack, just laying down the shields and making sure that Authority are going to have a harder time than last time pushing forward.
Atrexia being able to hold this beautiful angle. Doesn't find the hook that he was trying to. Throwing Salmon Time off the edge would have been perfect for them. But now that he's not only still alive, he's going to start being able to pressure out. And this is where Androxus is going to have that rough time. As again, even Umi is going to be covering a little bit of difficulty just trying to deal with the range. But doesn't seem like it's too big of an issue for them as long as they can snap back and find the kills they want.
Yeah, I've really liked the Strix play so far. He's been out of control. I feel like he's been a big part of Five Gods' ability to take the enemy down and find those kills. Right now on a 3 streak without a death, and he's got the ultimate available should he want to use it, but sniper rifle for now seems to be all he needs.
Strix ult is in this really awkward area where as an ult, it doesn't feel bad to just throw it out there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like, it's not one that is a necessity to hold over, right? If you have like the Ancient Rage, Accursed Arm, those are things right now that Five Gods are trying to think of, okay, how are we going to use this next round? When we're in this engagement around the point fight, how do we capture the point away from Authority? Whereas for him, it's just, if I'm in danger, I'm going to flashbang you and I'm going to try to run away, or I'm going to shoot you right afterward. Either way, you can throw it out, and it's such an interesting ability just because of the blinding factor it has, but it doesn't warrant, I think, as much as we see out of other ults.
This is a nice push from Authority. They decided to move forward at this point.
15
But
seconds
Androxus taking to the sky, trying to find a spot, looking for the flank. 2 players pretty low so far. Has the ultimate, but wants to save it for next round. And just goes to work, takes care of business with the headshots. Double kill for Androxus.
And again, not a standard map. This is honestly just Ixchu looking incredible on Androxus being able to hold it. Just running people down with punches towards the end of it, but now looking for some shots. Does find the last one, and that's the only one that matters.
Five Gods out here. Listen, you can't win on the defense, but this has been their game plan. Give up the point, and then you just can't make it through our alignment. And Five Gods right here, again, like you said, an odd choice for this map, but the Androxus, definitely one of the better performers here for Five Gods. The combination of Ixchu and UMI here has been devastating for Authority. And it's interesting because the combination. Gore, what I'm seeing is the sniper kind of hold his spot and make sure that enemies can't get past his vision. And then it's Androxus' job to just kind of float around, and anybody that's not in UMI's scope is in Ixchu's crosshairs, and it's his job to cut him down.
And it's actually such a weird instance to see Androxus towards the top of the damage. It's normally where we see Leon floating. Even Victor, in this case, should be up there, but the fact that he is just beating them out just showcases how much pressure he's actually applying, even though, again, this is a very non-standard pick for this map, but how great it is for this draft.
And look at that right there. Gets 1 kill with half of the ultimate. Trouble, though, as the Undying is coming. Big Tank versus Big Tankle. What's going to happen here?
A stalemate at the end of the day. The shield goes up, and Makoa's like, well, I can't break that down, and my hook won't go through. I'm not entirely sure how to approach this. Unfortunately for Authority, that does actually give a pretty good zone for Five Gods. They've been looking at holding the point, and what we had said earlier, you get Barrack moved in on that capture point, and it's going to be hard to get rid of him.
Yeah, Five Gods haven't really had the opportunity, but finally they do. 96%. Nice ultimate there from Inara as Authority trying to wrestle control the point one more time. Makoa here just going to activate the shell. And getting Inara off this point is going to be a task for Five Gods, but they just need to get her off the point for a moment as they're at 99%.
99% is probably the one thing we always refer to as like a 6-man in the game, essentially. You have to play on the point now. Inara can't leave that point without giving up, essentially, the entire capture. And so Five Gods can play against that. Unfortunately, again, they have an uncustomary draft, which will mean that it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I think, to accomplish it, unless you can just run straight down the line and find a couple of good headshots onto the Inara.
Yeah, I've liked this. I've liked this pick so far, but Authority SEA able to take control of the point here, and basically because of Inara. Great job from her at the last moment to really take control of that point and deny Five Gods what could have been, their victory, honestly.
And it was 100% just the targeting of Ikju, like getting rid of the Androxus. They go for the stun, a barrage falls down on him as well. They just put as much burst into one champion as they could. And then once he was gone, it's okay. Now we can start picking up these other kills. No one has the same slash line that he has been able to accomplish. I think Strix was the closest behind him, but even then, it's just in assists because he's setting up all these kills. I mean, 18 and 9 is really hard to beat.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that, honestly, is his mobility. You mentioned how odd it was to see the full 50% on the dash, and that's really working out here. He's so mobile, and this map I was talking about being problematic for him because of this interaction. With Androxus in the air, Victor's just going to be able to mow him down. But up until that point, Andrew's done a really good job of staying low to the ground and using the geometry of the rocks to really avoid the Victor sort of skeet shoot, if you will. Just shoot him out of the air. But right there, it's tough.
The same awkward push that you have to deal with every single time. Now he's going to be able to come back in. That's a Dread Serpent, but they're trying to hold on. 5 gods are going down, though.
Here's the push. Authority trying to make it happen. This is all they need to take it out. All 5 gods are alive. Nope, that's 2 kills so far. Great job, and that's going to be the game. Fantastic end from Authority. And again, Victor, Fernando coming through. That's game 1.
And just being able to hold it, again, holding that ult. One thing about Barrage that people will forget is that it can still hit you if you're up in the air. It doesn't have to collide on the ground. And so Androxus dashes up, he goes for an Accursed Arm, but Barrage just has to look at you for a second, and one of those missiles is going to connect.
If Cursed Arms comes out and is successful, is that a different game? Do we see a defense and a whole new point?
I feel like we see a little bit more contest towards the end, because a lot of the grenades right after, a lot of the damage coming down from Victor is making a difference, but you still have to deal with the Leon, you still have to pressure a little bit more. So I think it slows it down a little bit more. I'm not sure if it changes the end of it.
Well, 1's in the books already. Let's head into map number 2 and see where this one's going to go. If we're going to get the all 3, 5 gods have to try and find their fight back into this one. And we're going to be on Bright Marsh this time.
And I actually not only like the map, but I like the way 5 gods has adapted, especially since week 1. This team's grown a lot, and that's growing on me. The first time I saw them, I was like, okay, well, this is going to be team number 4 pretty much the rest of the split, because everyone just looked like they were going to be able to shut them down. It was very quick sets the first couple of weeks, which was, again, not really standard for SEA, but now being able to at least hold on for that. If they can get a better draft, if they aren't relying as much on maybe odd picks, at least for the map, maybe draft more for Bright Marsh here, I think they have just as much of a chance as Authority.
Gotta love the bands here coming out from Authority. You see the Xin and the Androxus band, and that's really important to me. When a winning team still acknowledges that something was too strong last time, and especially that wasn't an Androxus map, and you went 18 and 9 in Androxus, you still lost, but that's gonna catch us slipping at some point. So the ban right there, right away, leaving Furia for the first pick. Across the way, Willow Makoa.
And I kind of expect Authority to go for like Furia Anara, which is a very strong, and if they can get Drogas, that's another very strong pick on this map. But Willow is probably the one that right now is seen as the counter to the Furia Anara, because Anara stands on the point. Dead Zone makes you not want to stand on the point. You at least get them away, and she has a lot of control. Koga, actually, interestingly enough, can on this map, again, control a little bit of those zones a little bit better, but I'm not sure how well he's going to do. Earlier, it looked all right. I'm kind of curious if now it's going to be a little better.
Well, I liked the Koga last time, the way he was able to chew through the front line, the damage, and he was using the cards to give him more ammo when he dashes, so he's just able to hold that trigger down for a long time.
This is not a sniper map.
No.
I'm going to go ahead and throw that one out there.
No, it's not.
This is a Leon map. This is a Cassie map. This is not a sniper map. So Strix getting pulled out there is either Authority flexing really hard and saying we're going to win this, or Authority potentially throwing the game.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe his whole plan is to pistol it out, you know? Maybe he's just all about the sidearm.
Get it right in your face.
We'll see. I mean, you know what? Last time wasn't an Androxus map.
Yeah, you've got a good point. So you never know. I mean, he could go, I think it's crack shot to get a little bit more damage out of his pistol. And it was notably a long time ago, Androxus pistol was probably one of the strongest weapons in the game.
Yep.
It was just only effective at a certain range. You had to be relatively close, which, I mean, this is also a pretty good map to be close on.
Well, let's see. Oh, he went with the crack shot. All right, so he got an interesting talent there. I do love to see that. I am, if you've ever seen me in any other game, I love the jank. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I don't care what game we're playing. I want to see the oddball stuff, and I want to see this. I want to see this, whether it wins or not, Gore. I want to see the application. Like you said, the thought process, we see the talent. It's about the pistol. But realistically, I mean, he's still going to be doing one of these, right?
Yeah, and it's actually because it's going to be so difficult for Five Gods to get back to him. I feel like he's going to be pretty safe. Like, unless Koga can just drive through everybody else on the team, I don't know if it's going to make a difference.
Well, he gets the snap play right there, takes care of Willow right off the bat.
Ooh.
And he's going to get the first 2 kills belong to the sniper on the non-sniper map. So you know what? If he's able to do this one and just quick scope all day, all right, I'm down. I'm seeing why Authority went this direction. They're able to just push off.
And this is the credit. One of the things that players have learned over time is being able to figure out exactly when the accuracy comes through. We see that in a lot of games with snipers, but now with Strix, you figure out when can I fire. And if you hit a body shot, it's 1,200 damage. If you hit a headshot, it's 1,800. If you are just lucky on your quick scope, you're still going to be able to potentially get the 1,800, but 1,200 is not a bad base to find yourself at.
The problem is Koga, I think, is even more effective at cutting down those snipers than we saw the Androxus last time around. So Koga's able to just find these backline, and like I said, his ability to shoot through the tanks is already devastating enough. God forbid he gets to your backline and he just 2 shots your sniper. That's going to be problematic for Authority, I think.
And I think that's probably the biggest issue, especially right here. It's going to fit a lot more,
Oh,
and he actually pulls out the claws.
Yes, the first time we've seen them with the play.
I have not gotten to see him often. They don't come through as much. And even then, it's only for a little bit, but he at least gets a little bit of damage. And again, showcasing part of the kit that even though it's not as prominent as the SMGs, it does apply a lot of damage. It's pretty decent overall in terms of his control.
Yeah, I mean, you only get like 3 shots or so, and they hit for 600, so it's not a slouch, but it's less overall DPS, right? It's just a burst. And I really think the only reason we saw the claws come out was because it was reload time.
Reload time, and they're already in a comfortable position. If he goes down there, it's not like they lose the point. So it's like risk versus reward. Might as well throw him out. You get the kill, and you continue the pressure for your team. So Five Gods recognizing the scenario and being able to play Koga, and again, in a different way than I think we've seen other people pick him up, which is my favorite thing about this champion so far, is that he's been very player specific. He isn't just this is how you play him. It's how do you want to play him.
And so do me a favor and go a step deeper there as we see the payload being pushed there. Well, what different styles of Koga have you seen?
I mean, we've seen people who go Master at Arms, which is going to make it so you'd have no chance of losing ammo as long as you find a hit, and they will just go specifically for that. Although right now he gets a triple kill as he gets aggressive. He does get taken down at the end. But I mean, Strix left alone, a triple kill for the Koga. He's feeling confident.
So right there, Five Gods get the first push. Nice job so far. Authority do not look as authoritative as they did in game number 1. Big damage coming out from the Strix, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with the Willow on top. That last moment in the game, I think we saw the reason that Authority actually went for the sniper on the non-sniper map is because Willow is going to be looking for those giant up-in-the-air spots, and there's not many other choices to cut down flying characters. Snipers are always good for that, and Strix is going to be able to directly counter, or at least that's the goal, is he's going to look to directly cut down Willow each and every time.
It's definitely unorthodox, I think, for Strix to do it. I mean, normally we tip it like Leon comes out big on this map because of a similar reason. It's not going to happen anywhere near as fast as Strix can, but it kind of feels like Authority were going for like a double frontline composition and then grab Strix instead at the end. But that's what gives Five Gods just that big advantage, because now if Makoa dies, Fernando takes his place, or vice versa. So they have essentially a head to replace a head at the very front, and an Ancient Rage makes it very easy to continue your life.
Yeah, now Strix being pushed back and unable to really find a spot to really drop that sniper and get comfortable. Makoa with a nice pull and a nice kill. That was a nice play.
Being able to get aggressive there, and again, he uses his Ancient Rage, but look at the zone it gives them. They're up 2-0, Five Gods. We have talked about in the past that CIS knows Bright Marsh really well, and they typically can find it in 4-0s. Right now, it looks like Five Gods have figured out the map.
Yeah, I think they have figured out exactly how to take this one. I think we might just see the 4-0 here.
I'd love to actually see if we could get eyes on what Koga is running in his loadout, because that, I think, is a better glimpse into what he has. So Surprise being able to generate the 40 ammo. He has the 300 heal on Shadow Step. So a lot of focus on his mobility. Every single dash is going to be important for him. But something to prove, he's going to be able to get energy whenever he falls below 50% health, which gives him that comeback mechanic, or comeback potential, I guess, in these 1v1s.
Right now, he's just laying the damage in easy peasy. And yeah, that's really what I've seen Koga do, is just tear through these front lines. Makes Inara look like she's made out of paper.
As long as you can get the right angle on her. It's always, I think, the most frightening thing to see from a team is when Inara goes down that fast. It's just a different experience because she's known for not dying so much. And when you see her get taken down like it's nothing, it starts to open your eyes. And potentially, I mean, for at least Authority, that to me means you should start looking towards what is going wrong, what's causing Inara to go down, and that's where your priority starts to go, because if you keep her alive, all of a sudden it becomes easier to start snowballing your fights.
Target prioritization is one of the most important things, you know, when you're looking at a game like this, because you've got to not only find the point and be able to push that out, but you've got to identify who the problem targets are. And that's what Wanda's going to try and do with this Dragon Punch here. Has it available, might want to use it, in all honesty. As I said, this could be Five Gods just taking the game here. So I think Authority really need to look to be this aggressive. And I like how they've shifted, because they've been playing largely defensive this whole game.
And now, yeah, like you said, pushing forward, being able to find the shots that they have so far from Wanda, it's just opening up a lot of space. And Wanda has, again, kind of been flexing around a lot for this team. This has been a very versatile Authority roster. Wanda, I have seen play Maldamba. While Wanda has a phenomenal Drogoz, Wanda can carry, can heal, and I believe I've seen them on frontline as well. So just being able to step and fill in that role for your team has made a big difference. And right now, it definitely seems like the stride has been hit as the Drogoz.
That's an important part for a team to be successful in the long run, is having those Swiss Army knife characters, or players rather, that can flex, because we've seen a number of different compositions, right? 2 frontline, 3 frontline, barrack solo. You've got to be able to have flexible players if you want to be flexible with your meta.
That's definitely part of what's made some of the top teams. Fnatic notably comes to mind. Bugsy, in my mind, is probably one of the best flex players in the world, because I don't think I've seen him lose. Well, I mean, I've seen him lose. I should say that. He has lost a lot, but he has the most competitively wide champion pool that I think I have seen out of any player. And I feel like a couple of these guys are starting to try and bat for that style of play.
And with a game like Paladins, the characters are so drastically different, you've got to be impressed when a flex player comes through, and you've got to be impressed when Authority comes through. That defense came out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden, Strix goes ahead and grabs 2 keys for himself. 2 other players fall down, and Five Gods just say, not our moment. They've got to fall back, and with the defense, it's 1-3.
They look at the clock, they see 5 seconds left, and they decide, well, I guess we can start winning. This is a good point to turn it around. And they get comeback mechanic coming into this round as well. So with all 5 ults, if they can get a very early kill, that makes a big difference.
Is that something that you will kind of play for? Like, you obviously don't want to find yourself losing, but if you have yourself down 2 points, do you then allow them to get the point and defend the payload there?
It will happen. I think you can see it in a 2-0 scenario. Like, if you're like, man, if we have to dump everything to get this defense, is it worthwhile? We're going, like, you keep it 1-1, but we know we're going to lose the next point because we just used everything. Let them get the 2-0. We'll have comeback mechanic and our ults, so you can get that point, and then if you find a push, it's tied again. When it's 3-1, it's usually they just dominated us, and we have to be very careful how we approach this.
Not a lot of breathing room there. Willow up here. And again, this is why I think the Strix is chosen, because Willow is turning this into a sniper-appropriate map by flying as high as Mount Everest. So because of that, that's going to open Authority up a little bit more.
Five Gods going to be able to lock him down, though. I think that's the big play. Salmon Time not able to really peek out and find the Willow because he's surrounded by a Fernando, a Maldamba, and a Koga. Every single time, as long as you can keep him locked away, you're going to feel pretty confident.
And confident as they should be. Five Gods right there just collect the victory nice and easily. After missing the payload push, they grab the point. Now it's the rubber match. 1 and 2 split down the middle.
I will say, both teams being able to show a lot of strengths and weaknesses. Again, we've seen some off picks that haven't been working on the maps that they're not usually seen on, but the theory is there. I actually like it. I love seeing teams, specifically it's SEA, usually CIS as well, that are willing to try some of these things out. LATAM was one of the teams, or one of the notable players was Hecate, who actually brought snipers into the meta for every other team because everyone realized we can't beat this guy at his game. We have to figure out what they're doing, why it works, see if we can use that against some of the other teams, and that's part of the reason that they had a really good run during the World Championship.
Yeah, I like the thought process there against the Willow, bring the sniper out. It doesn't go Authority's way, and because of that, we get bonus Paladins. Game 3 on the way. We'll see what map we're going to be hanging out at. We did Jaguar Falls earlier, so that means we're going to be stone keeping it.
This is a good map, I think, to end on. Just with the way things have been going, I mean, again, Ascension Peak down in the bottom left has been probably one of the ones that I feel like SEA and a lot of regions are a little bit more scared of, just because it's newer. It's
Yeah.
fresher. You don't know whether or not you can actually push on it. It's very difficult. For the longest time, it was probably one of the most hard to convert maps that we had. Now teams are starting to figure it out, but a lot of the other regions, like in North America, they've got it. People will go there. When you start switching to like SEA, CIS, maybe even LATAM, it becomes a little bit more shaky on whether or not you actually want to choose that. So you're sticking to the staples.
We'll see how it works out so far. Bans coming out in just a moment. And Strix's going to be banned just like that. Five Gods said, look, if you're going to pick Strix in that kind of map, on this one, you're definitely going to pick him. So we're going to ban that out nice and easily. And Makoa's finally banned. We've seen a lot of Makoa between these two teams.
And being able to go through a lot, again, this region I think has banned him less, which I'm not against, but I feel like the bans he's being replaced with don't make as much sense in certain cases. Torvald has been relatively big, but people have kind of started to figure out how to deal with him. Vivian with Sapper rounds, it deals with shields very easily. And once you pop the bubble, it makes Torvald feel really inefficient.
Yeah, just kind of not doing what he's doing. Again, just putting a hand out and doing some lackluster damage. Not a nice look there. Authority going to be grabbing Katsi and Leon, so that long-range damage again. But Fernando and Khan, FG looking to prioritize their front line and then pick up a Willow.
I honestly like Five Gods draft so far just a little bit more. Cassie and Leon are always staples. They always hit top damage. They always do well. But it's really easy to forget them, right? Like, it's really easy to glance over them. Every now and then it's like, oh man, Cassie got a triple kill, and that's about it. But Willow, Khan, Fernando is a very confident, like, again, being able to get into not only the front line, but control. Willow is great on this map if played properly.
Yeah, I'd say Five Gods draft is pretty confident as well. I'll be here all.
It comes through every single time he's in there. Gotta get one.
Not bad. Well, we'll see how furious Five Gods are going to be with Furia on their team. You like that one?
Furious Five Gods. I like that.
You like that? You like that?
The alliteration that would come through. That actually would be a much better, maybe not a better name. I like the name Five Gods, but Furious Five Gods. The alliteration means something. It's why Ball and Berry is so easy to remember.
I like that one. I do like that one. Let's get right into it. The Five Gods versus Authority SEA here on Stone Keep. Aesthetically, one of my favorite maps. Not talking so much about level design, although I'm not going to say it's a bad one. I do like the ins and outs. I think the tight hallways are kind of fun and exciting, especially when you're looking at characters like Damba and Barak. But just aesthetically, I like this this castle look.
Actually, one of my favorite things about this map is that, for the most part, especially when we're spectating, when we're watching the game, everything you see is the castle. When you're on the balcony, though, towards the side, and I don't know if we'll actually even be able to glimpse it until someone's defending, there are a bunch of plants that are destroying the side of the castle, and I'm still very curious about these plants.
I want to see it.
Because they just, like, there's a bunch of these huge vines on the side that are coming up, either tearing down towers, so I want to know the lore behind the map.
Well, I guess you'll have to keep your eyes open. Of course, we've got update notes, update show a little bit later, so certainly could be revealed there. First blood, it's Khan. Uncharacteristic front line falling down.
And look, even though he's been having an incredible game on Androxus earlier, even though it, again, wasn't a map, now on a map, gets second blooded. Don Quixote Roger going to get taken down after that. This just seems like a gradual pushback. Authority are just kill after kill.
Real slow, just kind of TDMing it right now, just looking for kill by kill. Andro finally finds a target. I think that's the first kill so far for Five Gods, and that might be all the juice they need to take it. With that said, Authority going to pick up the point nice and easily because of their ability to just push one by one and very methodically, I think is the word I want to use. Push up, find the kills, and really easily take that point.
And it was just a really awkward approach from Five Gods. It really did feel as though they were kind of separated like dominoes that just fall. Because you see Khan fall in one area, take a couple steps away, and then there's the Androxus. A couple more steps, there's a third, there's a fourth. It wasn't until you finally got to those last two that anyone was actually standing together as the team.
Yeah, I think the problem right now is that Five Gods just haven't been able to do what they are here to do, right? And that sounds extremely rudimentary because Authority has been killing them. But if given the opportunity, if Five Gods are able to dig their heels in and find a choke point to play defense on, or get aggressive and actually find their spots, I think we see a drastically different situation. But Authority have done a great job of keeping them under the thumb, so Five Gods can't really get in position. They can't really get their feet down to start moving.
And Psy Conqueror is holding a beautiful angle, goes for the seismic crash, finds a kill with it as well. And that is just what you can play, especially when you have someone like a Khan on the other side. He tosses Inara up into a prime position for her ult.
Yeah, this is a great look for Authority. This one, like I said, folks, nice and easy for the red team. Five Gods here with a great pushback, though. This could be their moment to really take back the round. 2 kills so far. Willow going to do some work as well for Five Gods. Khan making the bounce back. This is where you want to see Five Gods play defense. They're on their last legs as the payload's in their front yard. But they've got 50 seconds left, and they've pushed Authority way back. They're in a nice position.
And again, you're going to start seeing the differences in the maps. Bright Marsh a little longer, so if you do get a defense, it's harder to get back all the way to the payload. Stone Keep, it's not as difficult, anywhere near as difficult, honestly, when you can just walk back up again, especially if you look at last things like Split Zone Quarry. The difference in the layout does make a huge difference in the gameplay, and right now Authority are feeling confident. 25 seconds left, even with overtime, this could still be a 2-0 for them.
Yeah, they're looking for it right now. Five Gods have played good defense up until this point. They've wasted about 40 seconds after they killed out Authority, but they have 10 more seconds left. And Authority, they've got some good damage dealers here. Cassie's been doing work, but again, Androx is able to do business finally and take down Leon. He's got good positioning here. They're contesting over the point core. We're in overtime, and Authority are going to get 2 kills already. This could be their push.
Now looking for the last kill. If you get rid of Wanda, you get rid of essentially all of Authority, just because no more healer means no more Inara. At least no more immortal Inara. You can start taking her down. Psyconqueror just retreats. 1-1, keeping it even. And a lot of that, I mean, you called it out. It's the Androxus.
Just not able to be successful in the beginning, but then once he finds his spot, that really was impressive. He's 3-4-1 so far, and the 3 and the 1 came from that last bit. So again, it's Authority's job right now to essentially keep Five Gods in their stable, because once Five Gods are able to go, all right, we've got our positioning, we've got our setup ready, hike, then you're in trouble as Authority. But Five Gods just haven't really been able to get into that position, and by keeping them down, Androxus, like you said, no impact. Khan was dying earlier because they're so discombobulated. They're spread out. They're not able to really focus into one choice.
And a lot of that does, again, come through. You see Authority, specifically Zed on the Cassie, making a lot of trouble for the Androxus. Notably, one of the champions that has been considered, quote-unquote, anti-flank in the past, but not going to be anti-flank right there, as he actually is the first to fall.
Yeah, bad stuff there. Over. Turnaround for Five Gods could be in the cards here. Salmon Time in some trouble. Uses the ult, it immediately falls down. Khan again on the good side of that exchange. 30% for Five Gods. They try to wrest control of the point. Authority try to seep on in here. Slowly doing so, but they don't have the positioning.
Holding on to it. Nara just goes right by. She's on her mount before she drops down. Now she's going to be able to contest at 72%, and that's going to be big. Jet Serpent did come through, but it might not be enough to hold him back.
Yeah, this is a good look again. Willow here from a distance, just piling damage, but now she's noticed, and here comes the cavalry, going to cut her down as the Leon.
Getting a couple shots right here, trying to control Ghost as best as they can. Actually force the shield falling back, but Wanda is so low. That's going to be the target, and that's who they get. And Joxus, even if he walks away, he got 2 before he died.
3 players dead on Five Gods. With that said, still Authority looking good here. You were talking about how if you get Maldama, you kind of get the whole team, but that was too little too late. Five Gods were able to take down the healer when 3 of their own were already dead, so they weren't able to capitalize from the no-healer window.
And being able to burn down Inara, that's where the difference is really made. If you actually have like the Willow or a Leon on your side, it makes it a little easier because you can shut down her healing. But if you are so focused on the healer or the Inara that, you know, Salmon Time is just being able to run around and fire as much as he wants on this Leon, doesn't really make that big of a difference for you.
Oh my goodness, Authority is going to wrestle control at this point. They've taken it away from Five Gods, who looked fantastic at the beginning. Point goes to Authority, and they just took it off of Five Gods' plate.
And a lot of good shots against Salmon Time. Even though he misses his ult, does find a lot of these other shots, and it's clean because he's just applying death and taxes over and over and over again to these players. 90% anti-heal. It's essentially cauterized 3 from the beginning of the game, so it allows him to build into that wrecker, to deal with like a con shield, to deal with any shield from Fernando or the Furia that might be coming through.
Yeah, I think that's really the key point there, is how flexible, or excuse me, how wide his application is with so many different abilities coming through. Look at the streaks for Authority, though. I think that really tells the tale as well. Five Gods having trouble getting in position. You see them all kind of stuck behind that wall, unable to really find themselves at an advantageous point to really take advantage, and they just keep getting flanked by Salmon Time.
And with the way things were going, and I'm actually happy we got to see that screen before we left, you can already see between the two of them that Authority has more items. They just have an abundance of items compared to Five Gods. And every single one of them had like 1,000 credits on top of the more items they already had. So if they die, which I expect will happen here, I expect Five Gods is going to get at least one defense.
Sure.
They're just going to come back stronger because they're going to buy those next tier items.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit problematic for the guys across the way. Five Gods here. As far as the set is concerned, it's 1-1. It's nice and even.
Yeah.
But as far as this map is concerned, it's looked pretty heavily in Authority's favor. Again, Five Gods just haven't had the ability to really find themselves and get comfortable. That's the word I've been searching for this entire map. Five Gods do not look comfortable here whatsoever. They look like they're constantly trying to find the right place to go, and Authority is just keeping them uncomfortable like a bad sweater.
And right now, consistency has been key for Authority. Every single time something, if it seems to go wrong, they can rely on the fact that Zed or Salmon Time is going to be able to come through and have a performance. Whether or not it's going to be 3 kills or 1, it doesn't matter. They just can rely on the fact that we have the damage coming out. Again, Cassie and Leon, they're easy to glance over, but they will always be topping the charts in terms of damage.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit more from the Leon than the Cassie, and I think that's just been location-based.
Yeah.
Leon has been, her job has been to find the, I don't want to say the flank, but the up push, the forward movement, and then Cassie's kind of playing mid-game and hitting players from a distance.
And being able to find it again, Leon, her job is going to be applying anti-heal as much as she can to the targets they need, and because she does a lot of damage as well, she will usually hit a couple front lines, then turn to look for like the Androxus of the Willow.
Right.
Whereas Cassie, like you said, she's just going to be sitting a little further back and constantly firing. Zed is usually in the first fire line of this Androxus.
See, right there, that's the problem for Five Gods. That is the microcosm of this game. Androxus shows up, he's got 5 targets and he can't figure out which one to go to, and immediately Authority snap to him and make sure that he's not able to really make any play whatsoever. Really good target prioritization from Authority, and I think that's what's making them so successful here in this third map.
Overtime does come through, but they're trying to heal up in the background more than anything. Inara, Psyconqueror was left alone, and actually I think just got thrown off the map as well. It's good for a defense, but not having overpowered at the beginning of a round is actually some of the big issues we've seen with Khan in the past, especially on a map like this where being able to isolate and kill off someone like an Inara early on makes the big difference.
Yeah, that said, it does kind of keep them local in the game, right?
Yeah.
2-2. It's a mental victory at the very least, right?
You get to throw Inara off and just be like, I don't care what it means for the game. I feel a little bit better now that I've seen you die, so we can keep on moving. We still have the Immortal, Accursed Arm. We have the Fae Flight for Willow to go up into the air. And so I'm looking at Salmon Time potentially to be the one taking that down. His Wrecker 3s are coming through over there on Authority. A lot to deal with shielding, and again, a lot of damage behind that to be able to apply the kills afterward.
Salmon Time on a 10-kill streak so far. Fantastic job from the Leon player all day, honestly. Yeah. All 3 maps, even when Salmon Time did lose map number 2. Authority's Leon player has looked really strong. And starting off in the same direction as well. Here it's Authority trying to make things continuously in their favor. Good distance shots coming out from Leon. Salmon Time now focusing on just, like you said, distributing the debuff across everybody instead of just looking for the kills right away.
And it's also this awkward area of everyone's just in enough cover that you can't lock them down. So Salmon Time was looking for some kills but not able to quite get it. Androxus was probably one that would have been perfect to pick up, and they eventually find the kill. But it takes a long time to get there, and very much like the last round, 75-12 right now. But Psyconqueror, this time around, is taking too much damage before he can drop down.
The Willow looking for the spot. This is the Willow location, by the way. Really wants to drop everything from the top down. Authority in trouble, though. 2 players dead as they are on the point. Five Gods trying to take it. 99% here. We are in overtime, and Willow going to try and sneak this one out. Who from Authority is on the point?
They're looking to try and hold it. It looks like Barrick was able to go. Zed, Wanda trying to give their lives there. Inara. And again,
that's it.
Inara on her own does not stand anywhere near as strong.
Five Gods able to pick this one up. Will they be able to get the payload in? That's my question.
I mean, that's going to be the big turnaround, especially in games like this. When you've defended for 2 points, that's how you've gotten it. Once you capture the point, especially if you're Authority, you're having to defend for the first time. You don't know how Five Gods are going to approach into you.
Right.
You're kind of lucky that it's game 3 because you know a little bit more about their playstyle. But now they're going to start pushing as hard as they can. It's an 11 streak for 2 members on their team, Ghostname as well as the Willow. And so with these ults coming back online for them, they can hit the gas pedal real hard.
Yeah, exactly. Willow here is going to be a nice look to enable this last push if Five Gods are able to get there. But I love the fact that they have the Fernando. I think the Fernando is a nice look to allow them to get into position. And big damage coming out from the Willow, just barreling down that hallway, looking for the right-hand side. Can she find it from a distance? No! She gets sniped down by Leon. Great attention to detail by Sabontime.
And I almost like the way he plays that as well. Ghostname gets that toss-off. If you're running the right application of some cards for Leon, you could potentially dash back on. It's not going to be easy, but he might have just been able to get himself a little closer. It's always unfortunate to end up falling right there. As of right now, they're going to be continuing their push.
This can just be it. Five Gods are pushing forward, but with 2 players down, Authority going to be able to dig their heels in just a little bit more. Zed trying to find damage again from a distance.
Just not finding anything. Well, at this point, they're not aggressing as much. The Five Gods are trying to figure out how to get back here. A minute left. There's plenty of time on this kind of map.
Yeah.
And they've already pushed it through the arch. The most difficult part is getting back to the payload, but it looks like they're going to break through no problem. Ghostname needs some healing, but the rest of the team seems pretty well off.
Khan's been doing a great job of providing protection for this Willow. Atrexia has just been kind of hiding behind Khan the entire time, maintaining the high ground, and able to find the targets with her basic attacks.
Zergetto, this is probably where Barrack becomes probably the most awkward. Trying to fight on the ramp, trying to fight like in the open. It's not very easy. Once his barricade is up, it helps him a little bit, but this is definitely probably the easiest one to pick off, and if they can get that rolling, well, if they had been able to get that rolling, it might have been a big difference.
Yeah, the Androxus getting cut down, certainly going to hurt, but Khan's on a tear right now. If he falls, it could be problematic. Khan has been a big part of Five Gods' entire push here. Got to keep him healthy. He'll be healed right back up. But this Barrack has been doing a great job for the back line. Khan front side, still looking for the push. Pushing forward almost by himself. His teammates have abandoned him. Khan falls down to the hand of Barrack. And that's going to be a successful defense by Authority. We're here. It's 3-3. Final point.
I haven't been able to say it this set, so I feel like it's worth saying now. Respawn proximity, it matters a lot towards the tail end of those.
Yeah.
You, as Authority or as Five Gods, I guess, as you're pushing, you lose one member. It's going to take them 20 seconds to get back into this fight with their, not including their respawn time. Authority, you respawn, you drop down. Hey, look, guys, I'm here already in the middle of the fight. And that's what's giving them, I mean, the 13-6, the 15-8. Psyconqueror, even though he's 5-7, has been a huge presence for the team. Maybe, I mean, in terms of damage, he's at 78k, which is a lot. But just being able to stand there, and when they get rid of Inara, the fact that she's almost instantly back because of the Master Riding too, makes it so much easier for Authority.
Big swing for Five Gods in the latter part of this map, and I think a big part of it, we just saw the damage done, has been that Willow, and I mentioned the combination that she's been doing with Khan. Willow and Khan have been sticking together, looking for the high ground. Salmon Time, he's doing Salmon Time things right there. And the Willow-Khan combination has been really impressive for Five Gods here in the latter portion of this map, like I said. And because of their dominance and their prowess, I should say, Authority has been cut short from what looked like an easy win.
Salmon Time going to be able to find that shot with his ult. Does go down almost immediately afterward, but it doesn't matter. He got rid of the Willow. Wanda still alive in the backline on this Bomba, at least for a little bit, before going down, keeping Psyconqueror topped off.
Authority right now, 45% control of the point. This is looking pretty good for them. Five Gods nowhere near it. Nobody from Five Gods is able to penetrate through. Khan here. All right, there's some help. Fernando going to stick himself on the point, and he's going to go ahead and get some points for himself. Nice look here.
Where ults are going to start making the big difference. We do have the Dread Serpent coming through, maybe a little bit too far back overall from Wanda, but Seismic Crash still available. If Psyconqueror can live long enough to get it off, he gets taken down, and that might be big for Five Gods, at least in terms of catching up and surpassing the point gap.
Still in control of the point, but here comes Barrack making all sorts of noise. Now Authority going to wrestle control of it. 60-60. Five Gods take control of the point. It's back and forth right now. 75% on the blue side. There's going to be the battle shout coming out from Khan, and it could be enough. Gore, 93%, but they finally see a player die. Authority going to take it over at the last moment.
They're going to be able to find a couple kills. They use almost every ult they have in their arsenal towards the end of it. Scout coming out to get the vision, but that's 93. That might be 100.
That's going to be game. Authority at the last moment just kind of decide to take this one. Fantastic play. Again, I have to say, at the last moment,
That and not even using a whole lot to get back in there. I mean,
Yeah.
they drop a lot, but I mean, Dome Shield goes down. Barrett gets killed. He gets up 1 kill, though, towards the end of it on the Furia, and I think that's where things start rolling back in Authority's
Yeah.
favor. It's just, if Barrett's going to give his life, I think that's the best target to take down with him.
Really smooth moves there coming out from Authority. That's going to give them the win of the set, and of course, separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Wolfpack and Five Gods are going to be 3 and 4 respectively. Ryder still undefeated as they did take down the Wolfpack a little bit earlier today.
We can go ahead and look at what we're going to be seeing. Actually, breaking the curse, it's been 2 O's for the
Yeah.
left side all day. Now it's 2 1s for the left side, but we still have Friday, CIS and LATAM coming through with a couple of teams, especially with the way last week went. It was a big set of upsets for the PGS, so I'm excited to see how some of these underdog teams are going to be doing tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Fiasco Bros. I like the logo. He's got no hands.
And he looks very concerned about it, too. Like, that's the thing that really bothers me, is he's looking at them like, oh, this is my life.
It's like he woke up that way. Problematic stuff for him, but great stuff for Ryder and Authority. They are going to take their respective matches. That's going to do it for us here at the PGS. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, we've got update show on the way for myself, Gore Miser, and everybody behind the scenes. Peace, and much love to you.